that is your job as we welcome you guys to the first ever Breaking the Fourth Wall, the weekly podcast. It's almost like Spaceballs, the movie. Guys, I am Christopher Stolle. I am excited because this has been a dream come true. This has been something I've thought about and planned for about a year of bringing the Fourth Wall to a week format of silliness, some of my favorite things. And let me introduce you to the people that are going to help make that dream a reality. First and foremost, I'm going to read them off as I see them on my screen. I'm going to start off with our newcomer from Detroit, Michigan. Is that correct, Mr. Colin?
Great intro.
It's an audio podcast. It's an audio podcast, so you might want to let people know you're talking.
Hey, Chris, how's it going?
How's it going? And of course, joining me as always will be my right-hand man, Mr. Don Smith from the Life Radio podcast.
I thought I'd wave rather than do the thumbs up, just to add to it. It's great to be here, Chris. I appreciate you bringing me on board for this because this will get the Life Radio show out to even a much. Probably the same people. Probably the same people are going to watch. No, I'm kidding.
The same 12 people are going to be watching it.
Yeah.
I'll drink to that.
But to help bring new people to the podcast and podcasting world, one of my very dear friends, known her for over 20 years, CEO of Vinyl Profit Record, Miss Serenity Stone. Serenity!
No. Hey, what's up? So glad to help. Yeah.
People listening to the audio, we get the double. And of course, as I introduced Don as my right-hand man, I could not be a full man if I didn't have my left-hand man, or is the best way as I describe it, as a left-handed person, one jerks, the other catches.
Yeah. I was just looking and wondering that. Get it.
Happy to be on board. You're not even going to respond, are you?
Yeah.
I'm not touching that one.
No.
That's what she said. So anyway, the first thing we do, obviously, this is going to be a completely different format. I hope you guys enjoy it. It's a work in progress, so bear with us. We got to figure this out for our own self. But as we're doing this, I wanted to be able to, first off, I want to touch on a very serious subject before we get into silliness. And that serious subject is Mr. Rudder from What's Your Effin' Binge podcast, who is joining us today. Unfortunately, was diagnosed with COVID-19. And we wanted to get a little bit more details into it because how often do we get a chance to sit down and talk to somebody who is actually dealing with this pandemic on a personal level? So I thought it was a good opportunity to sit down and just, get his impressions, his impersonations, or not impersonations. Impersonations. Make it talk, Daddy.
Yeah. I knew it was fake. He's having to do an impersonation of somebody with it. That I knew. The whole it's all a scam.
It's a hoax.
Yeah, thanks, Colin. We all should be wearing. We've already got one of us down.
Yeah. I wore a mask every minute of every day while working and everything, and I still caught it. So that kind of tells you a little bit about what good it does you as far as preventing it goes. So
Well, wait a minute, on the package of the mask, did it say ribbed for her pleasure? Because it might be the wrong mask.
No, I have one that says I'm here to serve your ass beer, not kiss it. It's been weird, I don't really feel super terrible. Each day is a little bit different, but like the other day, I never in a million years would have thought about like calling into work for feeling the way that I felt. I didn't, feel bad like that. But then at night it gets worse. And then some days, like, I feel the beginnings of, I'll have an uncontrollable coughing fit that just can't be fucking stopped. And I feel the beginnings of one coming on at the beginning while we were talking before we went live with it. I started coughing a little bit, and once that starts, I'm like, okay, control your breaths. I'm doing like a lot of breathing exercises to try to like minimize that stress that I feel, because there's like a rattle and a stress you feel in your lungs with whatever the breathing complication is. That you can feel that cough coming on. What's that?
So Lamaze helps.
Breathe in through your nose real deep and swallow through your mouth does actually work. Yeah. So basically Lamaze works. Yeah.
Have you gotten one of those pulse oximeters for your finger to see what your oxygen levels really are?
I've checked that on my iPhone, which is not 100% accurate, but I have the app for that and for your pulse and everything. And like they definitely
a turkey thermometer.
Yeah, that's a meat thermometer.
That's outstanding.
Bend over to only hurt.
I don't want to know where that goes.
That's fucking horrific.
It goes in your meat.
That's
Actually, this one's for the deep fryer.
At least he admits he goes deep.
But like my blood pressure and pulse will like seriously raise, and then the oxygen level, according to the iPhone, which is just your finger over the camera, basically is how it measures it. So it's like, you know, it can't be 100% active or accurate, but it does give you a reading, and that has dropped while my pulse or heart rate has like really jumped up whenever I start going into coughing attack. So there's definitely some physiological effects from whenever you feel that coming on, and it causes.
I would recommend buying one. They're like $20. Just buy yourself one.
By the time I get it from Wish, I will have been done with the COVID, so it doesn't really fucking matter, you know, at this point.
Amazon.
At the beginning, that would have been good, but no, I've got an item that's I'm waiting on from Amazon for like going on 4 weeks. So yeah, I doubt it would be here before I'm done being sick.
Well, I know you said before we started recording that you were diagnosed with it on Wednesday, but previously you were starting to feel the symptoms on Sunday. I wanted to get into the symptoms a little bit here because a lot of people may not even understand that they have COVID. Like, think of argument, my girl just went through a regular cold. She and it was just a regular cold. Or a couple days ago, like I sprayed some bug spray and I breathed some and I started throwing up. You know, and those could be misconstrued. Right, that they could be misconstrued as COVID or whatever. Right. It's just something common. I wanted to kind of dig into so people would know the warning signs. Like, are you more affected by it at night or during the day, or is it a consistent thing? Like, does it come and go in waves? You know,
backing up to the very beginning. Sunday, I started showing symptoms of it, which was a scratchy throat cough, kind of like if you have allergies, you know this feeling where you have like a tickle in the back of your throat and it makes you cough, kind of deal. Started doing that, but then the cough started being more throaty, like I was coughing from my lungs, not just a tickle in the back of my throat. And that night, my wife. Leading up to that, the week before at the bar that I work at, we had 9 people come up testing positive for COVID. And then I started this cough. And my wife was like, the next day we're going and you're getting tested.
Right.
So it takes a couple days to get your results back. And then during the course of this week, it's been the cough is the most persistent or the most regular of the symptoms. That's something I have to deal with every day, no matter how I feel. Real bad fatigue and like night chills and running a temperature. That's only happened a couple of times. No nausea, nothing like that. Definitely no sense of smell or taste. That's been the thing all the way. By day 3, I was not tasting or smelling anything. And so that part has gotten worse over the course of it. And then at night, it just continues to be bad. But the wife
get a family pack.
It's been better.
I'm gonna get a family pack of Taco Bell like burritos, and come over, and I'm gonna put that test that sense of smell thing to the test.
There you go.
I have every kind of hot sauce you could possibly imagine, from habanero to Reaper to everything, and I've even put it in chicken noodle soup, and it didn't fucking. I didn't taste shit.
Have you tried snorting it? Just take a little straw, see if it'll clear things up in there a little bit.
I've got some green habanero that's chunky enough to probably do that with. I don't.
Well, go get it. Let's do it on the air. That'll be a new segment. Make Chris snort something. That's
Chris smell or taste it.
I've already been on camera snorting shit. I'm not doing that again. Last time I did that was sweet and lovely. Like you could taste cancer.
What if it's a dare? We can dare him. Dare you to do it.
Rat liquor.
Rat liquor. Did we ever find out what a rat liquor was?
Somebody tell me what rat liquor is. Like, it notified me. It's the word of the day.
Tell me what a rat liquor is.
Urban word of the day.
Here, I'm looking it up right now. Urban Dictionary, August 16th, rat liquor. A person who refuses to wear a mask or take any of the basic precautions to help society prevent an airborne illness during an epidemic. All right, rat liquor.
That's awesome.
That makes perfect sense, too. That's during the plague. If you were out licking rats, you're going to spread the plague around.
Yeah. I'm going to be the Pied Piper. They can follow me.
Yep, lead all the rat lickers out of town.
Yep, let's go.
I went to do my laundry today. I go up to West Milton, Ohio, where I grew up, and not a single damn person wears a mask up there. It's like it is a whole town full of rat lickers out there. Shout out to Milton.
Well, wait a minute. Do we kind of Pee-wee's Playhouse that? And every time somebody mentions the word rat liquor on the show today, we all have to scream. You said the word of the day.
Word of the day. Word of the day.
Did anybody know that Rob Zombie was at one time Paul Rubin's PA on the show?
I heard that. Yeah.
That's a cast of characters. Alone everybody we had on the show, but having Rob Zombie as the guy who runs all your fucking notes around studio all day, that's kind of a cool image if you think about it.
Yeah.
That's triumphant. Definitely.
Which is really wrong, since I introduced you and Don as my right and left hand. Thinking about it, Rob Zombie was essentially Pee-wee's right hand, and we know what he did with his right hand.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Connect the dots, la 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 la. Sorry, Rob. I'll never get him on the show now. All right, enough of this foolishness. Let's get into the news with Mr. Don Smith and his segment of the News Buffet. Go.
All right, hey, buffet. This is gonna be a blast, guys. Now, how this is gonna work? I'm going to give you the most exciting news stories I can come up with, and then we'll have to discuss them. So let's get right into it right off the bat. A mosquito on a state flag? That's not going to fly, right? Because of a typo, residents of Mississippi nearly had a giant mosquito as a choice of a new state flag. Nearly 3,000 residents submitted new flag designs after the state legislature voted in June to remove the Confederate battle emblem from the flag and put on a new design on the November ballot. Thomas Rossetti, who works as a deckhand on the Yazoo River, said he first submitted the mosquito design as a joke on a friend who didn't want the old flag design changed. I believe people from all backgrounds can get behind this and raise it proudly, Rosette, 26 years old, said. I said something like that in the submission email, and now I actually do believe that. The mosquitoes in their state, the mosquitoes, it's their state. We're just living in it, he added. And there is a picture. There is a picture of this flag if you want it. Let me see. let me see if I can pull that up for you. See what.
But wait a minute, you said it was born from a typo. So What was it originally supposed to be?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what word.
Well, I think it was originally supposed to be the typo, or it was originally he put it in as a joke, but because of a typo, it actually accidentally got picked as one of the ones to go on the ballot. So I think that's where the typo came in. It was
Mississippi. You know how you describe Mississippi. All you got to do is just go to your toilet after taking a piss, take your shoes and socks off, and then stand in your toilet. That's what Mississippi's fucking like. That flag is awesome.
I love it. I think it's very appreciative.
I'm kind of okay with it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think every state should follow suit. We should all change our state flags to things that we're really known for. Like off the top of my head, Tennessee should have meth labs.
I thought for Tennessee should have meth labs. I thought for sure.
I live in Dayton. We were the heroin capital, so we should just have somebody getting Narcan. There should just be Narcan as our state flag.
Oh, yeah, and start distributing it. I'm in Colorado, so.
Yeah.
All right, California can have the Mambler.
We can go ahead and get that. We can go ahead and get that flag off of there, and let's see what we have next. This one, I want so many people to know that this is a potential cure for COVID-19. Chris, pay attention. A mother of two believes that drinking smoothies with a shot of sperm have helped to boost her immune system and help prevent the coronavirus. Tracy, you ready, Chris?
What kind of shot are we talking about here? Like one shot or like one
shot? The whole load. I don't know. Let's dig further in.
Okay, I gotta know now.
Tracy Kiss, 32 years old. Tracy Kiss, 32 years old, said she has not had a cold or flu for 3 years because of her concoction, which is made using donations from her boyfriend, and she takes 3 shots a week. Tracy, a personal trainer from Aylesbury, said,
very happy man.
Said, I found a free and vegan-friendly alternative method to boost the body's immune system. You don't always know what's in a pharmaceutical medicine. It's much better for your body to drink something that doesn't contain chemicals. It isn't much different to a mother breastfeeding her newborn to give them the nutrients they need. It's a little different. It isn't for everyone, but it is packed full of vitamins, and I haven't had a cold or flu ever since first drinking it in 2017.
Did she?
I also put it on my face to clear up my skin. Sometimes you can drink it right out of the container.
Did she just compare
Yes, she did. Yes, she did. But I was going to say, there's a happy man right there. I was about to say, there's a happy man right there, but I'm imagining he's pissed off because that breast pump sucks.
all I got to say
because it probably she doesn't probably take it the good way and then spit it into the concoction. She probably has to milk him into it. Either that or she hands him a magazine and a cup and says, "Do what you need to do."
Yeah, donor situation. While you're at work, you have a break.
She's a keeper.
Yeah, who knows? She might do it in a sleep by milking the prostate. You never know how she's getting it. It could be a forced extraction.
I have an image in my head
all the time, regardless. Yeah.
Right.
I have an image in my head of a reception desk right at the foot of her bed. When her boyfriend wakes up in the morning, she's just, in a nurse's outfit with a cup and a fucking hustler.
What's the take on something like that? Like, is she like, okay, have you had the sniffles today? Have you had a fever, or have you had the cough? How do we screen daily?
Is there any nutritional value to it? Like, has anyone actually looked up?
There's a lady on YouTube who has where she claims there's like 3,000 nutrients and a shot of jizz. And she has a series on it, so I think there has been a lot of work done on this.
Well, I do know it takes a lot of protein. I know there's a lot of protein in semen, but the one thing I'm confused at is that she claimed it to be a vegan alternative. When the hell did be vegan? Like,
would it be cannibalistic?
Yes.
She's
definitely a meat eater.
Definitely a large meat eater.
Well, it doesn't show the boyfriend, so we can't say that for sure.
So this is like real. She's drinking real nut juice. Like, no, there's no nipples on an almond. You can't really milk an almond, but
but you can get almond milk. Yeah.
Crazier things have happened.
You have to squeeze it out of the nut somehow.
Yes.
Dude,
I'm sure.
This is some mental shit, though, man, because she strokes out the load. She strokes out the load into a cup, into a glass, into her concoction. She drinks it, and then like wiping the blood of your victim on your face, she uses the extra in the glass to oil of Olay.
Right, she just kind of smears around. Yeah, perfect. You know.
People have bathed in the blood of virgins. I guess
Whatever keeps you healthy. Chris, you should have been doing this the whole time. You would have been fine.
What if her kids grab them?
That's a hard pass, brother.
But didn't you say she's a mother? So,
yes.
So what if her kids want a smoothie? Like, her kids want a smoothie too, right?
I'm hoping they have their own blender.
If she's so into it, it must be healthy for everyone.
Right. If she's going to buy it, I bet that whole family's,
I'm so glad one email on the panel is one who said that. Because
creepy became
All right. Well, we'll keep moving because, hey, this is the news buffet. It may not be worth a shit, but there's plenty of it. A brewery in Western Canada was forced to apologize. For unwittingly naming a beer after the Maori word for pubic hair. Hell's Basement Brewery in Alberta started making Huru Huru, a New Zealand craft ale, last year. The brewery picked the name because it understood the word meant feather or fur. But Te Humau Nikora, a Maori living in New Zealand and well-known former TV personality, said the word Huru Huru has an altogether different meaning for the Kiwi indigenous community. He said it means feather, fur, or even hair of the head, he wrote on a Facebook post on August 1st. I know this, but it is most commonly used as hair from a person's private parts. So if anybody wants to drink some pubic hair beer, it might help with coronavirus too.
Take the beer and add the vegan alternative Corona cure from the last.
So why would you want to drink a beer named after fur anyway? Okay, whether it means feather, fur, or pubic hair. Like,
it's still,
I'm not going to be drinking fur. Like, hey, baby, let's drink some fur. Like, that name in the beginning is doomed to fail. And then add that. I want to go back to the mom again and talk to her about some alternatives.
Right. And no matter what, it's going to leave a bad taste in your mouth.
Hairball.
You guys, I work in food in a restaurant every day. And we always joke about alfalfa sprouts. I mean, nothing gross like that would ever happen. I would never allow it, but the joke is always there.
Exactly. That's why you're always kind to your server before you get your food. Never complain about anything till after you've eaten.
Right. You've seen that movie Waiting.
Yep.
All I've got in my head is like the scene from Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back when he goes down on Carrie Fisher. And it was the deleted scene afterwards when they get thrown out of the car. Yeah, 70s Bush. The name of the next movie should be Trim That Shit. Like, I could just see like down in that beer and like pulling out fucking pubes as you're done, you know?
Right. Or the scene in Half Baked with that big bush.
After names like Space Death and all that shit, definitely running out of good names for it. So yeah.
So why not pubic hair?
Come on, man. I mean, if we're gonna go pubic hair, why not be a little bit more creative than just stealing the word from an indigenous tribe? Why not, fucking Wookiee in a headlock?
Why not just call it ostrich pussy?
Right. Call it what? What was that last one, Chris?
Ostrich pussy. Let's just name our beer Ostrich Pussy.
Why not? A wayward emu. A wayward that segues perfectly, the ostrich pussy. A wayward emu has been taken to an animal shelter after it was captured while running through the streets of northern New Jersey. A woman spotted the long-legged bird on Tuesday morning in a residential neighborhood near Patterson's border with Ottawa. Animal control officers managed to snare the emu, which is about 4 foot tall. The emu was placed in a large animal crate and was taken to a shelter where officials arranged for the emu to be examined by a veterinarian. The officials were not sure whether the bird had escaped from a farm or it was just running out in the wild, because all those wild running New Jersey emu. Chief Animal Control Officer John DeCondo told NJ.com that the emu appeared healthy. He could not determine its age or sex, but I can tell you it needs a bath, DeCondo said. So there we go. We went from ostrich pussy to emus in New Jersey, which is probably as close to an ostrich pussy as we can get.
Did you know that 6 to 13 people, I only know this because I fucking looked it up one time. 6 to 13 people a year die from emu or ostrich attacks. You poor dumb bastards. You had to walk up on a 6 foot fucking tall bird and get kicked to death. Like looking you dead in the fucking eyes is not warning enough to back up. 10 people a year die from these birds attacking them. That's just like one of the dumbest human fucking activities there's ever been. Just walking up on a 6 foot tall predatory bird and getting the shit kicked out.
Right. Well, to be honest, how many people see an emu or an ostrich and don't want to ride the damn thing?
Oh yeah, definitely want to ride it.
I think we're assuming too much on this poor emu. He might have been there just filming the next freaking car commercial. The one with the emu and the idiot dressed up like he's from fucking Reno 911.
Oh yeah,
right. Emu. They could have just been filming the next scene, and he's just like, fuck it, I'm tired of working with this guy.
He's the stunt double.
He's the stunt double.
He's the stunt emu. We all need a stunt emu every now and then.
That's right.
As a filmer, I can't tell. I'm a filmmaker. I can't tell you how many times I've had to wrangle in some stunt emus,
especially in New Jersey, man. Gotta let them roll free.
Well, yeah, because the main character emus, they always have stunt emus in their contract. You can't get away from it.
Part of the rider, they all get green jelly beans and a stunt emu.
Right. I don't do my own stunts. This pecker puts food on the table. I don't.
Cheers for that one.
Hey, Florida man. Hey, we get to go to Florida. A Florida man was arrested Saturday
Florida man.
after worrying citizens who spotted him walking down the road while waving a gun in one hand and holding an alcoholic beverage in the other, authorities said, because it's Florida. Deputies responded shortly before noon to reports of a man pointing a gun at vehicles along the street in Wimauma, about 30 miles southeast of Tampa, the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office said. Deputies said 66-year-old Eric Ricardo Felder was holding and, quote, carelessly waving a loaded .38 Smith & Wesson revolver in one hand and a Blue Moon beer in the other when they arrived. And that's why I don't believe this story. That should have been a PBR.
Yeah, definitely a PBR or a Schlitz. Yeah, definitely.
Right. I might even buy a Coors Light, but no, I'm Blue Moon. You lost me right there. That's how I know this is a lie.
Maybe that's why he was wanting an orange.
Blue Moon ain't hardcore enough.
Right, exactly. Blue Moon is something you almost have to have your pinky extended to drink. I mean, it's Belgian. It's Belgian beer. It's not,
Should have been fucking Natty Ice.
I hate to say it, but a lot of people here in Colorado drink Blue Moon with a slice of orange. I don't know why, but I guess Coloradans have their little picky out.
Right, but do they also wave their Saturday night special around? We can share the screen on this if you don't mind.
Yeah, go for it.
It shows
I will get that out there.
That is a Blue Moon. I don't. Do they even have pictures of it?
What a loser!
Yeah. And I just wonder what else is in the back. What kind of hazardous flammable material does that cop have in the back of his cruiser?
I'm really digging. I'm really digging the color coordination on this dude's hair and beard deal going on, man. That's fucking awesome. He's got like that's Hitfilm stripe going on there. That's awesome.
Going to look like Richie Hayes.
Like, don't get him wet. There'll be hundreds more of him running around.
People pay a lot of money to get that due.
We'll never get rid of these fucking Blue Moon freaking bastards.
It's natural. It's natural. It just comes in that way.
I will buy the story. The 38 special, the Blue Moon, him walking down looking for an orange. I will buy every amount of this story if you tell me that as he was walking down the street, he was singing "Zippity Doo Dah, Zippity Day," because that's the way he looked. He looks like he should be in the Song of the South movie, you know? Zippity Doo Dah, Zippity Day. Yeah.
I think that beer bottle is full of Hennessy or something.
Yeah.
Cognac.
Cover.
Yeah. He's faking
right.
it.
You can head to the Instagram page of Adil Landauer for the original photos of this incident and a first-hand account. A theft took place in one of Berlin's public parks, which allows nudity. Plenty of Germans practice nudism while sunbathing as part of the Freikörper to Kultur movement. I have no idea how I got that out, okay?
Impressed, very
I'm not going to attempt it again. It embraces a naturalist attitude towards community and nature. Nude sunbathing is nothing to gawk at in Berlin. Last week, Landauer watched as a wild sow and her two piglets rifled through a fellow sunbather's belongings. She and other park visitors feared the pigs, but she wrote that they seemed to be peaceful. After they ate a pizza from a backpack of a man who was taking a swim in the lake, they were looking for dessert. That's when they grabbed a plastic bag, carrying it and its contents away with them. It was the man who had been swimming until that point, then realized that they had his laptop. The man gave chase, hollering and clapping to persuade the wild pigs to put down his belongings. So yes, a nude sunbather had a wild pig steal his pizza and his laptop.
Outstanding.
Yes.
Wow.
I just want to know if he got a sunburn so they kind of matched and they communicated, you know?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, if you're going to go nude sunbathing, you better keep your laptop and get some work done for the office while you're there.
Of course.
I don't know, man.
Now
Jim Henson, the Muppet Show has just gone downhill. That's all I'm saying.
That's true. Yeah, Miss Piggy's trying to start her own podcast.
Where was Kermit?
A cast? That I don't know. See,
Kermit was the one chasing for the laptop.
That's my laptop.
You know, you could buy the virtual wardrobe so everyone might be naked someday because, you know, you spend so much on a virtual wardrobe, you're going to want to use it. Why wear clothes?
Makes sense.
That's why he was running for the laptop. It wasn't for the kiddie porn and the eBay watching. He was worried about his virtual wardrobe. That was his whole entire closet walking away with that pig.
Right. That his ensemble just got carried away in a pig's mouth.
Yeah, I bet they look really good in it too.
If I had a nickel for every time that's happened.
Well, maybe you didn't have any passwords written down.
Oh, Amazon has sacked a delivery driver after a horrified neighbor caught him pooing in her garden. NHS counselor Sharon Smith, 53, said she was cooking in her kitchen when a van pulled up outside her home. A man ran from the vehicle toward her garden, and she followed him, suspecting he could be stealing some wood. Because that happens every day.
Yeah,
but the mom
he was adding logs.
But the mom of two caught the man mid-squat defecating on her property among the trees and promptly called the police. She said he even asked her what her problem was and got aggressive and tried to leave. They followed the trail, caught right up with him.
I will never read Hot Boy Gretel the same way again.
Just trying to fertilize.
Now, if you share the screen on this one, we can catch a glimpse.
Oh, you know I'm sharing this one. Awesome.
Not only did she chase him back to the garden, but she had the forethought to bring a camera with her. Nobody's going to believe this shit.
Clever girl.
Oh, my God.
Brown delivers, man. That's just all there is to it.
What can Brown do for you?
I'll tell you what, she could be mad all she wants, but that is going to be the one spot where her Maui Wowie grows the best.
I was going to say she'll be thanking him next season when she.
Yeah.
Hey, I have to pay for my manure here, so Amazon, come on by a couple times a day.
At least he was being eco-friendly and doing it in the garden. He could have done it right in the front yard next to a fucking gnome statue or something.
Right.
Did he bury it like a cat?
Well, if you look at the picture, it looks like he's trying to catch it in his hand.
He should have brought one of the little poopers.
He's a monkey. He's a poo thrower.
You probably saw her coming with the camera, was going to fling shit at her anyway.
Right.
Or he had a bag. He was going to just light on fire.
Yep, don't light it on fire in the garden. That's terrible.
I baked it just for you.
Have some respect. Ring the doorbell and leave it there. Okay.
Right. It's easier to dispose of that way. You don't have to dig it out of the garden.
Right.
Some delivery drivers just don't know where to go.
Hey, I'll tell you what, working as a fence installer, sometimes the people don't let you use the restroom in their house and all that, especially because you're covered in concrete and dirt and stuff like that. There's been many times we've used our post hole diggers to fucking go behind a tree and make our own little toilet. There ain't no lie there.
Right.
We had a
but you dug a hole. That's a good deal.
Well, yeah, and we actually cut out a hole at the bottom of a 5-gallon bucket. So that way it was like our toilet seat. So we would dig the hole, we would put the bucket over top of the hole, drop
it's
our
just like
business.
Camping.
Yeah. Who hasn't used a camping shitter before? See if this guy was smart, he carried one around with him. That way he wouldn't have had to hold it.
Let's be fair. If there's DNA in poo, you know how many backyard pools and pool houses and sheds have like my DNA buried in their backyard?
Awesome. Yeah, years from now, they're going to think you own all those properties at one point. He marked his territory.
That's it. I hope some of them are listening right now. It's like, wait a minute, I used that company and he was oh god. My kids run barefoot out there.
We'll cover one more on the news buffet. Has this been enough of a buffet for everybody? Have we covered a little bit of everything? All right, we got one more, and
dude,
Chris Rutter will like this because of when I was a guest on What's Your Effin' Binge, we talked about the Viking show, The Norseman. So here we go. A woman suffered life-threatening injuries when she was taking part in a rehearsal for a Viking reenactment. The woman was hit on the neck with a sword by a man who was practicing his moves in a field near Woolpack in Yalding, Kent, England. A witness said they've got proper swords. Apparently, they were practicing and he caught her neck. It really was an accident, a terrible one. I'm glad to see she's okay. The woman who was dressed in Viking clothing was taken to King's College Hospital in London after receiving treatment at the scene shortly after 5 p.m. on July 12th. So, yeah, be careful in your Viking reenactments because that's got to be an interesting story for the paramedic that showed up for that.
Well, who decides what's proper? I mean,
how did you get this cut, bloke? Yeah, that's really fucked up.
Proper. It had good balance, maybe.
That is so awesome that he said that. They've got proper swords, mate.
Yeah. Proper. nothing fake. Look at her; she's squirting blood all over the place. She's got a proper neck wound.
You get a proper up. Come on.
Yeah, prop her up so we can finish this reenactment.
It'll look realistic, you know. Like
that, ladies and gentlemen. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the news buffet. Yay! I'll tell you what, I'm so excited from that segment. This is the first episode of the weekly show for Breaking the Fourth Wall. I am so excited with the way he presented that segment. I could actually produce my own vegan alternative COVID cure right now. I really,
but it's not vegan because it's cannibalistic. It's still
but if you tell them they're vegans, if you tell them it is, they'll believe it.
But it's just like milking a cow, man. Like, come on.
I'm still feeding on the term proper swords. I'm over here with balloons and shit.
No, that is an improper sword. That sword is totally improper.
Are you making that during the story?
Yeah, Colin, put that improper sword away. Properly cut your neck.
Things I do.
Not a sword, it's a Smurf dick. What are you doing over there?
You made that. He made that out of a.
He made a smoothie.
Don't mess with that, man.
Why.
He made that out of one of his condoms.
That completely explains why Smurfette was the only female in the village. She was like, I ain't sharing this.
Yeah.
I could be only one. Yeah.
Jesus.
Papa Smurf had some fun.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. When them Smurfs got horny, it looked like fucking Smurfette looked like that fucking pig with the laptop.
Oh yeah. Was it? She was prolapsed, I think.
Oh Jesus Christ!
Well, it was either the blue one or this old deflated yellow one here.
Her real name was Prolapse Smurf.
Look, that one still got the foreskin.
You know, it's the Epstein effect in the Smurfs right now. Like that just, no. I don't want to even think about that now.
Has anybody seen the new Scooby-Doo movie, Scoop?
Really?
I'm just curious because I have not seen it. I heard it's absolute garbage. You know, and I guess
your kids will like it. You won't. That's kind of
the kids like it. Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of the way that goes down. We've had to watch it because of kids, and it was complete dumpster juice. They fucking loved it. So yeah.
Well, your kids are a bit older than mine.
Wait. Dumpster juice. Is that kind of like rat liquor?
That's
more this movie.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Can we combine the organic COVID cure with the hairy bottle beer and call it rat liquor? Rat liquor beer. I mean, it would go all together.
There we go.
Yeah,
we have better ideas than they do.
You can put it in your face.
We should have our own show.
Definitely, let's do it, guys.
You know, a beer that makes you feel beautiful inside and out.
We're not putting Colin in the corner yet. He still's got some play for us here.
And if you're male, it's self-refilling.
God. I'm wishing it was just the normal shot. Not that.
I think we stroked that joke to death. All right, so let's move on to the next segment. Right here, for the people that are watching, you guys are going to see this. When we start doing this live, it's kind of a skip segment. But I think this is a good time to bring it down a little bit before we go back into the craziness. And we are going to hit the interview section. This is where I sit down with somebody and give them a half-hour conversation, knowing about their podcast, their celebrity status, whatever the case may be. We're going to check that out, and we will be right back.
Okay.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Christopher Stolle. Welcome to the inaugural episode of Breaking the Fourth Wall Weekly Show. You already got some laughs, and hopefully I bring it down a little bit, but I won't because these guys are already hilarious. I've talked to them for a little bit. I'll let them introduce themselves and tell them what they're all about. We'll get into it from there. The floor is yours.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Who are you?
I'm Gunnar Quaylen.
I'm Jenna Sinclair.
And we narrate audiobooks.
And we narrate them
in duet. Mostly romance, but a little bit of scary. So that's our thing. About the last 4 years, narrated a lot of romance. And a little scary, too.
Is that the big one? I mean, like, give me a. I've got to. I usually don't start interviews like this, but I'm gonna start it right away. I want to hear your guys' erotica books. Like, if I pick up a Fabio book and I turn to page 1, and it's got dialogue, I want to hear the dialogue voices you guys give. So,
we're gonna grab a book and let us do.
Well, it's cool because a lot of the books we've done are BDSM.
Oh yeah,
and, yeah. Do you need me to spell that for you?
Interesting. The ladies lead it because we're mostly narrating where the ladies. It's for ladies. There's different kinds of
romance written for ladies.
Right, and they're spanked to exactly the degree they want to be. I mean, it's not true. Like, because they have a big thing about what's dubious and what's not okay, and so this is all come with me and you're really dominant, and then they're kind of no, well maybe.
Yeah,
it breaks down from there,
and it's like this is perfect. Oh.
See, this is good for a marriage.
that is.
You could read some erotic. It really helps. Someone asked us. Steve asked us. He said, "What's it like if you're in a fight?" I'm like, what's a fight? Can you get in here and start?
We've called narrating romance novels kind of like a
therapy.
Therapy.
It is therapy.
Couples therapy.
Better than therapy, yeah.
Yes, because we're reading this, this is obviously written for women.
Yeah.
And so many times the main male character says,
"Talk to me. Tell me everything." Is that what you're talking about?
That's exactly right.
I was like 33 years together. I've never said, "Hey, talk to me." But in the book, talk to me? Is that what you want me to say
and
to
I'm
you?
like, yeah, fuck yeah. Talk to me.
As a divorced father, I know it's fiction when a guy says, "Come here, talk to me, tell me everything," because usually with my ex-wife, it's usually, "Will you shut up?" Sorry.
Yeah, leave me alone. Well, and that's it. As I got into these novels more and more, there's a pattern. The guy is supposed to be alpha male. He's supposed to be very rigidly a wild stallion who can't be tamed. One book I ride in as a millionaire rock star on a Harley.
Yep.
That's the character.
Yep.
And the guy cannot be tamed. Women throw themselves.
Yep.
But this little girl grew up. The hormones hit her since he left town. He rides back into town and she's like, whoa. And so now the guy, he was
kind of like her first crush kind of thing.
Well, and now he's got a lace apron. He's built her a house with a nursery. And by the end of the book, the guy's totally tamed. So that's kind of a theme that happens in the books. And I'm laughing thinking, but they do want, the rough and tough Harley dude. They just want them to completely love them and desire.
Yeah, only.
Yes. It's very important. The guy says a lot. I only care. Well, they had every woman in the world, right? He's a millionaire rock star. Theoretically, he had a lot of women, but he only wanted her. So that's important too.
End.
That's important too.
Yes.
So
we see the fallacy in that. We do. Of course, we laugh at it. But this is what women want to hear.
Yeah, they want to feel like they're the total focus, right?
I gotta ask because you deal with this, and of course, like you said, this is obviously devoted towards women. For men, we have the House Forum. Which is about as believable as the woman's romance novels. But, kind of combining both worlds together, have you guys voiced over 50 Shades? We got to ask it.
Oh, no, we haven't done 50 Shades.
Oh, but we've done a lot like that.
We've done that stuff. Yeah, we've gone as far as Amazon will let you go, or any of the big major iTunes or Audible. So they have rules. There's stuff you can't do, but inside those limits, there's a lot you can do. And we've said things I wouldn't say.
Oh, like what?
Well, it's being a bad guy. Some of them have situations where someone's kidnapped the love interest baby and stole the kid away, and they're real vicious bastards. And get over here, you stupid bitch! You know, and then I turn, sorry. You know? And then she's there giggling, going, "Oh, it's kind of cool.
You did that so good."
Yeah. Well, and that's how we started narrating. When we first started to narrate books, it just made sense to me that she'd do the ladies' voices because I had a girl here, but other narrators, they do every voice.
Right.
In Harry Potter, Jim Dale narrates everything. He's Hermione. He's all the teachers. He's Professor Snape. He's Harry. He's everyone in the whole book. And people love that narration. But I was like, I got a girl. Hey, you want to come be the girl?
I'll come be the girl.
Be the girl.
I'll be the
dude,
girl.
And we'll do
Shut
it.
the fuck up. I'll be the girl.
We found out that that's very special. It's called duet. And it's hard for other narrators to do because there's some super, super popular narrators, but they're in different cities or getting them both in the studio together, or they have to have, it's all got to be cut together, you know, editing, they narrate, and then you got to try and blend all that. So we're like, well, we live in the same house. We get along. We don't fight. We fight more in the books than we do to. Yeah.
And those are fun scenes. Those
fighting's the best.
Fighting's fun.
You stupid ass. It takes one to know a ditto. Fuck you. And you're just like, that's when it's really cross talking is fighting. So, but yeah, did you want to really hear some or not? Because we got to.
Oh no. Well, let's talk about. So what we're doing now is more of like a. I would call it like a Tom Clancy kind of thing.
The current book.
The current book we're narrating.
Written by a woman, but retired New York law enforcement. Serious. And she writes action. Jenna St. Clair is playing the part of an assassin. Well, oh man, this is so fun. In fact, we were narrating, we're in a Lambo and we're screaming to the hotel and she's squeezing my thigh and we had to stop all that to do this. So,
oh wow.
Sometimes I know, right? With this assassin, I was her super spy who trained her.
I have to get back to my silky red dress.
My God, it was
and
great.
And Louboutin shoes.
That's right, Louboutin boots. She's wearing Louboutin boots. We're in a Lambo. People are ruin it by chasing us. But the excitement of it's called Absolving His Sins. Absolving His Sins, written by
Samantha Cole.
Samantha Cole.
It'll be out soon.
It's coming out, right? That's what we're narrating right now. So we get into romance, and I like action. So I like action because it's like it's for the guy and the girls.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
as long as the girl gets some action, you bet.
There you go.
I don't have much in the way of voiceover work. Like when I think of voiceovers, the first thing I think of is like cartoons. You know, for example, voice actors and stuff. And I'm thinking right in my head, the first voice actor that comes to my head is Mark Hamill, obviously, because I'm a Star Wars.
Yes.
So Luke Skywalker.
Yes.
Out the bat.
Yes.
But I know how animated he is, and he gets into the characters even in the booth when he's doing like the Joker or some of the other things. He's really, really animated. Do you find yourself doing that when you're narrating these books, like when you get into the charters? Are you really like?
It's fun to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
There's a place for it, and there's a place for it. Voice training and exercises. It's good to do impressions.
Mm-hmm.
Pardon me. So Well, my favorite narrator is someone who's passed away and touches me personally because my Saturdays sucked. We were really poor, and I was born a poor child. But I'd watch Warner Brothers cartoons. There's Bugs Bunny. There's Yosemite Sam, Foghorn Leghorn, boy, you bother me, you know, and all these characters from, Pepe Le Pew, the Stinking Skunk, and this little femme, you know, one guy, even a lot of the special effects, one guy. Mel Blanc.
Yep.
He made all my Saturdays happy. When I found out it was one dude, it just blew me. And I can do some of what he could do, but I'm like, God, he was Bugs Bunny. He was Daffy Duck. When they were doing that whole duck season, rabbit season, it was one guy. The whole argument was one guy. And a lot of the sound effects. On his tombstone, it says, "That's all, folks."
Yeah. That would
even in death, guy was fun. So he was a guy that led me into the interest of it. Yeah. So
do you want to talk a little bit about the scary world?
Yeah.
Well, that would be Thurl Ravenscroft, another voice. Thurl said you can get a deeper voice if you try. And I watched it. He sings in the Haunted Mansion, and he does the Disneyland Railroad, you know, welcome to the Disneyland Railroad. In a moment, we'll take a grand circle tour of the Magic Kingdom. That's him. He sang the Grinch. You're a foul one, Mr. Grinch. And I was like, wow. that's really cool. And a name and it's his real given name was Thurl Ravenscroft.
Wow. You have to have a deep voice if that's your name, man.
Well, they said, were you born that way? He said, oh yeah, I should have seen my mom's face. Mama, he said, you work on it. You get deeper, 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 sing scales and do impressions. If you work your voice, it'll get higher and lower. Like Zoinks, better get out of here, Scoob.
Well, it's funny you mention that, because when I think of horror and voices for horror, the first voice that always comes to mind, like maybe I'm showing my age here. I did tell you before I was 43. But to me, like, the voice of horror is and always has been Vincent Price, which I wouldn't necessarily classify as deep.
Well, I had an uncle who owned a shoe repair shop, and his name was Elmer. Elmer was friends with Vincent Price, and he used to bring all these shoes. And I mean, this guy was old school. He could build shoes. He had the lasts, he had the buffers. And so he used to tell Elmer, and Elmer would tell all of us. And, I didn't get to see him, it was like, he'd just come tell us, but it would be, oh yeah, I met him. And I'd say, was it fun doing those movies? He said, oh God, we have a ball. It's just a freaking blast making the movies. And you have the Scream Queens, they hire literally for their ability to look scared and scream. Yeah. And my favorite Vincent Price is actually the intro to Thriller with Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh God, yeah. Man,
it is a cool little poem that he reads off at the end. I think it's the original House on Haunted Hill.
Yeah. He's got, and he didn't have what we've got now for effects. I mean, we've got stuff I can hit a button over here and be Darth Vader,
He didn't need it. He didn't need it. No. Like in the horror genre. Now, granted, we're talking visual as opposed to audio, which is what you guys get into the horror stuff. But I mean, you think of like people for Dracula, for example. Let's take a look at Dracula. Most people are like, what's the scariest Dracula? Some people might say Bram Stoker's Gary Oldman. Some people might say the modern ones like Dracula Untold or whatever the case may be. I always go back to Bela Lugosi. They used minimum stuff, but he was Dracula, and he did it without gore, without that much special effects. He was simply, I pull my cape up and cut to the moon, and you hear a girl scream. That was all you needed. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Who's the guy that did it on Broadway for a while too?
I don't know off the top of my head, but I mean,
I remember that Dracula scared the pants off of you, which was great for me.
When did we see
Frank Langella?
Oh, Frank Langella.
Frank Langella did one where he'd been on Broadway doing Dracula for a long time. They filmed it. They did a movie. And he has those twitchy eyes that'll twitch. But man, he did a good job. I agree with you on Bella, and I agree also the old Nosferatu. There's one where a modern band, Tangerine Dream, I think, of all things. Anyway, but it's got a modern soundtrack. If you look it up, you can find Nosferatu. That was freaking scary for 1920, 1911. Oh my God.
We have a running joke that I can't drink red wine if we're watching a scary show, because my red wine goes everywhere but in my mouth.
It's so funny. She's a fear amplifier. If it's kind of scary, she'll make your heart stop with her screams, and I don't know.
You're welcome.
I'll share the story I shared with a couple people that I've interviewed that have worked on the original 1975 Jaws. I've thanked them. I've thanked them very much for their work on Jaws, because 5-year-old me saw that movie, and it stopped me from ever taking a bath again. I started taking showers after because I was scared the shark was going to come up the drain and eat me. So I feel you. I feel you with the red wine.
Yeah, it's amazing how fucked up we can get when we're little. Yeah.
Well, I'm a big fan of Jaws. It came out on my birthday in the market we were in, and I'm old too. That was $3 back then. But yeah, I got my cousin. We went and we stayed and saw it twice. Oh my God, what a great show! That's good scary stuff. And not all of it has to be scary. And we do, like we said, romance and scary. So there's stuff like Warm Bodies is zombies. A zombie and a human, and the guy. It's a comedy
it's a cute little romance.
Comedy rom-com, but it's pretty scary because the zombies are acting like zombies, and he tries to get better and manages to get better and romance a woman. If you haven't seen Warm Bodies, hilarious.
It's a cute little romance movie.
Well,
We're not in it.
What are some of the horror readouts or narrations that you've done? I mean, I assume maybe I'm thinking like Anne Rice or even Stephanie Meyer's Twilight stuff. Although I'm not a fan.
Yeah.
Well,
ours is our podcast.
Yeah, our podcast, and we're collecting. We're asking people to give us their scary stories,
right? Whether
it's first person or if they've just heard about it.
Something scary in their town, something scary that they went and visited, scary. But our podcast is not interview. Ours is like radio theater with radio, and back in the day when it was with sound effects and a performance. So it's just 8 to 10 minutes. Sometimes they're longer, but that's what we mostly do.
Right.
Is Bigfoot sightings.
Yeah. So we take a story and then we narrate it and make
urban legends. We took The Hook. If you know, The Hook is a great old story that's been, I mean, urban legends go way back, way back, like 400 years at least. Now they're calling it creepypasta. So you've got Siren Head, Slender Man, all that stuff's the new generation. They've got a website called creepypasta.com, and they're turning out this new kind of, but it's urban legends.
And we've been
call urban legends.
We've been ghost hunting since
my God,
our older boy was young. We homeschooled him, and he loved just searching after ghosts.
Right.
And we've got some awesome true stories about that.
So along the lines of what we've narrated, we did a Scary Castles program, Scary Castles book. We did a Bigfoot sightings, which wasn't too bad. It's one of my favorite subjects is Bigfoot, UFO, paranormal. Proof of afterlife is probably our favorite, because these are stories with good provenance where something's happened where it's hard to deny. One like that would be Caroline Mitchell. Caroline Mitchell was a girl who stitched her name into a napkin.
It's called a sampler. Back in those days, she embroidered a sampler, which all girls did at that age in the 1800s.
Yeah. She immigrated to Utah to become a Mormon with her Mormon husband
from England,
and died on the way here, which happened a lot. The only thing left was that hanky,
the sampler.
They took the sampler, gave it to a museum, and the museum's called the Daughters of Utah Pioneers. So this thing disappears, and funny, the museum is monitored by the Capitol Police. So the Utah State Capitol has these security monitors, and they can see in the museum.
Because the museum's right next door.
Yeah, they're right next door. It's across the street. So one night the alarms go off, and a cop took a picture, because this happened 10 nights in a row back in 2007. Okay. So one night this cop takes his camera, his phone, and gets a picture of the monitor, and it shows a woman with long black wavy hair, young lady. Every time they sent a cop over there, they cleared the museum and nobody was in there. They gave us that picture, and they told us the story of how we did all the provenance on all this. So it was cops who were responding to it on the record, and they found on eBay that sampler, the hanky, was for sale.
Oh, wow.
So they said, that's ours. It was stolen. They said, oh, we bought it in good faith. So it got returned. And then as soon as the thing was returned, the sightings all stopped, just like that. Wow. There's a lot more to it. There was a janitor, and there's a lot of...
Right. There's a janitor who saw the young lady.
Yeah.
And it was time for the museum to close.
Yeah.
And he said, hey, you need to get out of here. And she went out the front door, and the front door, it's one of those old buildings. So you go down several steps. Right. It's a very grand building. So she went out the door and just kept walking. Faded into nothing. And that janitor never came back.
Yeah. We talked to the president of the Daughters Utah Pioneers, and she said, yeah, he still works at the Capitol. He won't enter the museum.
Yeah.
So this was all pretty well on the record, and that will be in our podcast here in a day or so.
See, I'm mesmerized by this, and maybe I'm misunderstanding, so I want to clarify here. You guys, when you say you're wanting people to give you their personal experiences, so right. I've got a couple of my own. So just for an example here, if I told you
yes, please, awesome.
If I told you like a time at a cemetery with a blind man, a girl, and myself, actually 2 separate occasions at the same cemetery, like once I tell you the story, what would you do with it? Would you basically create an acting script and kind of like tell a first person narrative of the story that I tell you?
Yes. So if you go to scareo.com, SCAREO.com,
right,
it says, do you have a scary story? And it's got our picture. And you push yes, that machine collects your story. It allows you to tell us how many you've got and what your name and email is. And then if you have it, you can take a text file and upload it. And after that, if you can't upload it, then you can email us, and that's there too.
right.
Then we do perform it. And last week, someone submitted a fictional story. It was so good, we're producing it as an audio book. That'll be out in October.
Right.
It'll be about she's doing like a 3 short stories, so it'll be an hour and a half long book. And the stories were really good. And she's never been an author before. She's going to be in an ebook, and she'll be on Audible, Amazon. She's thrilled. So it's kind of like a new author. So we're giving people an opportunity to give us material for October, because in October we're doing a show a day, all the way to Halloween.
Okay.
And then
do you want to share your story?
Yeah, you can. Yeah,
I can give it
here
right now.
I'll give it to you now if you want it now. I'll even go on record and say, go ahead, and if you want to, keep, when you get this interview releases, if you want to keep it for record and release it on your podcast as narrated, by all means.
Excellent.
I'm sure myself and the people that involved will be totally thrilled with.
Wonderful.
But it was 2 separate occasions at the same cemetery. One time was middle of the night, drunk with my girlfriend at the time and a buddy of ours, and we were all involved in professional wrestling, and we were celebrating a night after a show. And we decided to go into this cemetery because it was one of those weird cemeteries where, like, the front entrance of the gate, it was a typical fence and bushes, and stuff like that. So, I mean, it was nothing outrageous outside. It didn't look like rose red or something. But when you walked in, it was a huge field and then a line of trees before you actually got to the grave sites, to the yards. Now, this is over 20 years ago. I was in, late teens, early 20s. And we go in, and in the first portion of it, the open field section, as we were walking, my buddy turned around and he said, "There's something laying in the grass." And we were all like, no, it can't be. This is field. They don't put bodies here. They put them in the back or whatever. And he said, "No, there's something there." So, like, okay, let's go take a look. And we go over, and I start seeing a shape that's kind of whitish, and we only have moonlight, by the way. There's no lights in the cemetery or whatever, laying in the grass. And as we came closer, it turns out it was a grave marker. It was a tombstone that was knocked over, and it was a cross tombstone. And from the angle that we were coming from, the cross was upside down. Well, I was raised in a military family and everything else, and my first thought and reaction was, okay, they put a body here, and some asshole came in and knocked the grave over. So I looked at my buddy and said, "Let's pick it up and try to put it back and make it right." As we did so, now again, we are in an open field. The graveyard, the actual graveyard proper, is at least 30 to 40 feet beyond where we are. Okay. So there's no trees, there's no other graveyards or gravestones or anything else. As soon as my buddy and I reached down to grab this tombstone, crows started cawing and screaming. None flew, there was none in sight, but it was screaming and cawing and hollering crows.
And it was dark. It was dark out, right?
Dark out, and it did not end until we left the grounds. As soon as we crossed the threshold of the gate, silence stopped.
Wow,
that's good.
Couple months.
Did you touch it? Did you touch it, or did you not touch it?
We touched it. We touched it. We didn't get it back in place. We dropped it and said, "It's time to go." Right. Couple months later, I told my wrestling promoter about it, with my girlfriend at the time, and he's blind. He's legally blind. He has a degenerative eye disease, where he was, at that time, he could only see 20% of his peripheral vision. He could see shadows out of the corner of his eyes. So we told him about it, and he said, "Wow, that's neat. I want to check this out. Take me to the cemetery." So we agreed, and we drove him up there, and we went to the cemetery. First off, the first thing that my girlfriend at the time and I noticed was that there was no gravestone. That it wasn't there, But Mike, the blind guy, all of a sudden said, "Hey, I'm going to grab your shoulder but something's telling me, something's pulling me somewhere. I said, what are you talking about? He's like, look, I'll grab your shoulder and I'll tell you where to turn and stuff like that. I said, okay. And so as we're walking into the cemetery, we pass through the actual tree line into the cemetery proper. And as we get in there, he starts telling me to turn left here, turn right there as we're walking the path. And he, without being able to see, it's nighttime, he's blind, he can only see peripheral vision. He is telling me exactly when to turn in the path. And he led us to the spot that was called Lullaby Land in there. And what Lullaby Land is this is where children are buried.
The babies, yeah.
Babies, stillborns, and kids under 5 years old that died from some horrible disease or something of that nature. Right. Mike led us directly to that. And specifically to a gravestone of a kid who had just died like 3 months prior, who had his headstone, and on top of the headstone was somebody left a toy fire truck, which had been knocked off, and we put it back up. After that, Mike couldn't lead us back out, but he led us directly to this grave. I believe, honestly, led us directly to this grave to pick up that toy.
Oh, that's so cool. That is so awesome. That is awesome.
Well, that's a lot like what, you said you'd listen to the Highway 50 Ghost Mom,
right?
The mom helping, and then that's cool where he had sense to care for a child. And these children's stories, I mean, I think we've got, the American Fork River Angel Mom, she yelled from her car and got the firemen and police to go to the car, flip it. She was dead, and all of them are on the record with CNN, The Guardian, with the local paper, all four. And you got to understand, cops don't get a lot of chance for promotion when they're going, I hear voices in my head. They took a terrible chance saying all four of us, and the two firemen, the two cops who first arrived, said they heard the woman. They flipped the car. The baby in the backseat was still alive.
I was listening to that, and that was crazy. I was thinking to myself, how did a newborn survive 3 days with zero nourishment, sitting in the same dirty diaper, exposed, on top of the horrific crash, just those conditions alone.
And it's around the kids, like with your fire truck. Kids create this extra emotion, I think.
Right.
It's not as when I die, I don't know.
Her
dad died. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Chris.
I fully believe in the supernatural. I fully believe there's life. There's intelligent life out in the universe. I don't necessarily believe all the stories I hear. Because as much as some of them may be based in truth, some of them are just somebody's imagination. But I think it's arrogant to not believe that there's life after death. I think it's arrogant to believe there's not intelligent life in our own solar system.
Well, very few people who research it doubt it. As people go, they doubt it. It's like, go check it out. And then after a while, they go, well, kind of, I do now. What are you going to say? I was going to talk about your dad.
Yeah, mention that real quick.
It was your dad.
Okay, it was my dad. Okay.
A few years ago.
My dad passed, and we went out of town and then to the funeral, and then we came back. So we're back in our home for the first night since the funeral. And we had on the table a
Brain Warp,
an old electronic game.
You had numbers and colors, and you had to turn the right number to the top, the right color.
Okay.
And I'm going to flash back real quick. That minister that told me the story of the bus, remember the only time I talked business golfing was when I said, tell me about the afterlife. And he said, they come back thousands, literally, Jeff, thousands of people have told me. And he said, they do it a lot through electronics.
Right. Okay, so this little toy is battery operated, but it had just broken, and it was sitting on the kitchen table. The batteries were out of it, and it was just sitting there all broken. So the night we're back, it's the middle of the night, and
sleeping.
When we're all sleeping.
I'll do the effect.
Okay, and so out of nowhere in the middle of the night, it says,
"Bro, who's ready to play Brain Warp?"
And I'm freaking out. And because I had heard our minister had said, they like to go through electronics to communicate. So I walked out to the kitchen and I'm like, Dad, thanks for checking in. thank you, but you're freaking me the fuck out. So, you know, it never happened again.
No, he never. He was, not. He did have a sense of humor, but this was a real straight-laced guy. This was John.
No
freaking
nonsense.
Wayne. No goofy.
No nonsense.
None at all. But that was funny that she felt like, yeah, that's my dad. And she said no more. And then, you know, that toy was old. It was pretty much broke and it never made a peep again either.
Yeah.
But that's how it used to start. You flip it on. Who wants to play Brain Warp? And we'd have fun at swim meets and stuff with the kids. And it broke. We were upset it got broke. So it was a pretty cool game. And then as soon as we got home,
weird.
Way weird.
So that's mine.
Flickering lights, flickering static, all those different things. That's a common way for them to try to reach out.
When my grandfather passed away back in 98, I think about 98, I was raised by my grandparents. Like my mother was in the Coast Guard. She was one of the first females to serve breakers. So first 5 years of my life, I was raised by my grandparents because my father had passed away from a brain aneurysm when I was 6 months old.
Oh wow!
So I was very close to my grandparents, but when they both passed away, my grandfather went, and then my grandmother went a year later. My oldest uncle took over the house, and so I moved out and everything else. He took it over with his family, and at the time, his stepdaughter was pregnant and gave birth to a baby, and they allowed her to stay in the master bedroom, which was my grandparents' bedroom. And they've told me stories, and I truly believe it was my grandfather because my grandfather was one of those people like your father. He was no nonsense. He was very stern, strict, very military background, German descent.
Right.
So
exactly. Yep.
That's the same. That's same there. Yeah.
But my grandfather's biggest weakness was always babies, and I've been told stories by Jennifer, my cousin, that her daughter, you know, would look up at the ceiling and just start smiling and reaching. We knew it was my grandfather just playing with the baby. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome.
That's awesome.
Fabulous. I love it.
That's another one there too. The kids seeing people, even sometimes growing older and going, oh yeah, I used to see him all the time. And he's been dead way before they were born. Is a common, very common, even in rescues, the baby would go, oh yeah, that lady came and helped save me. I'm like, no, she didn't. And they're like, oh yeah, she did. And that's with the kids, that connection with the kids. Well, this is what we do when we try to avoid work. When we're narrating a book or something, it's like, oh, this is really cool. But yeah, it's for us, this is the fun future that we're planning, is to talk about these things and collect them and try to share them in a way that make people enjoy it.
Right.
You know, we're not trying to make them believe it, although we call that series Proof of Afterlife.
Yeah.
Stories that will make you believe. But it's just, it's fun either way, you know. Even if we can't.
Even if it's just entertainment for some people.
Yeah, if it's just entertainment. But it's fun to hear it.
Well, have you thought about doing a series format almost like a Ripley's Believe It or Not, where you throw in like 2 or 3 true ghost stories and 1 false one and let people try to figure out what's fake?
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, we can have prize winners.
That's a good idea.
You know,
yeah.
Oh, that's not a bad one at all. Yeah, it's fun to do. It's interesting because we got into, like I said, romance, which, let me tell you, the fans in romance are the best fans.
They are.
That for sure.
They're awesome.
They're very supportive, loyal.
Very supportive.
Oh my
loyal.
God, they're and they make you feel wonderful when you do a good job, and you know they're gentle with you when you don't do such.
Your orgasm sounded stupid.
Like, listen, lady, that was a real orgasm. They do sound stupid. Yeah, I wasn't acting. You know, the studio's private. So the romance,
I want to see that.
It's fun, yeah. I know we're not going to get invited back to the show, are we?
No, absolutely. You kidding? I'm going to add you onto the other segments. The rest of the
yeah. So the first thing we did an audition for, and the author hired us, was romance, and so we started doing romance. But then we did do a little scary, and then I was like, hey, you know, paranormal does really well in audio. There's a lot of listeners. Like in some cases, the guys who did, Lorraine Warren, she was part of that series, the husband and wife ghost hunters, and the new Annabelle series, the Conjurer series of TV. She just passed away, I think, Lorraine Warren. Anyway, ghost hunters. Well, they've got demon hunters and books about them. but the audio versions outsell by like a big margin. The audio people would rather listen to it than read it. And I'm like, let's get a piece of that because we're doing audio, you know?
Yeah.
Do you guys add flavor effects and all that to even the romance stuff? But I mean, like background sounds for the scary stuff, like maybe creaking doors or
you know,
definitely
children.
That's neat.
Definitely for the scary stuff.
Yeah.
For the romance, if we want to pass the whisper sync, we have to keep it.
Yeah, it's a technical. When you pass quality control at Amazon, and that's an excellent question, Chris, because we like the theater in our own stuff. Most of it has music and special effects. When you go to Amazon, they want the listening ability to track with the reading ability. So if a person is listening and they go, oh my gosh, or even better, they're reading. Let's say they're reading along and then they jump in their car and they've got to drive. They can literally say, hey, Alexa, read me my book. And they'll switch from reading to listening and it will sync. And with special effects, sometimes they won't certify your book for that. And some people want it. It depends on the genre. More than likely in paranormal, they want the effects.
Right.
So that's the decision is the author. You got to ask them, hey man, is it all right if we do some special effects? Because there's a lot of books that do have them, but they might not certify to sync with reading and going back and forth. And a lot of people who listen really do. They're like, a lot of people who listen, we have one fan, she drives a forklift in a big food cooler. You can only be in there 2 hours at a time, but she's driving and hoisting big packs of chocolate and coffee and all this stuff. And she says, man, I listen to you guys. I'm not even working. And I go in, take my break, get back in there, and I'm just listening while I work. But some people have to be able to transition from reading to listening, depending on what they're doing, you know?
Right.
So hands-free is awesome. Once you try it.
Hands-free sex, you got to try it. Sorry.
Yeah, it's the only problem, man.
That is the question when you're doing the atmospheric, like obviously not necessarily the music, but maybe like the creepy sound effects or as we were joking before about the orgasm or stuff like that.
You're right.
Do you go and grab stock sound bites and all that, or is it, or since you are a student of Mel Blanc, do you create them yourself?
You can get away with some sound effects, and anyone you can do. Nobody who's narrating follows punctuation, for instance. Comma means nothing at all. You read it, they might say, it is imperative that we reach this mission borderline with a set time, and you'll be like, it's imperative, guys, we got to hit this borderline. You know, you turned it is to it's, and it's because of the character. And then you can put in a sigh, like it's like the you know, you can add these little things like, oh, I know what you're saying. The oh might not be there. But if the emotion drives it, you're like, oh, that might be a case. Sound effects, there's tons of phenomenal websites to gather those now, and they're really helpful. And so you can go and get any kind of mood thing. But yeah, for scary, I'm pretty sure our scary books, we're going to be bringing a bunch out in October that we'll have. Now we have one that's a rom-com. That's Nick and Carol. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Our fans named it. It's going to be Nick's Wicked Wand. And this guy's married. Nick's Wicked Wand. You're right. Nick is with a crazy girl named Carol who's just a hoot. And
it's some books that we're writing together. It's Nick and Carol.
We did St. Nick's Naughty Helper years ago. That was a Christmas book. And Carol's Naughty New Year. And now it's Nick's Wicked Wand.
And Nick and Carol Tie the Knot. A bondage.
Yeah, they're not getting
Valentine
married.
rom-com.
They aren't getting married. Yeah. Nick and Carol Tie the Knot is a bondage rom-com. And so these are the things you can mess with. But yeah, that's scary. We'll have effects in those.
So if Nick's Wicked Wand is the next book, the following book going to be Carol's Filled Cauldron?
Oh.
You know, we're going to have to pay you royalties if you start naming our books.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Well, that's, you know, speaking of the money, I mean, we did a kinky book, And anything that's got some fetish, whatever, you can get away with. But if it's got a little bit, you might not get as many reviews because people don't want to admit they're listening to it.
Right.
But man, do you get a lot of sales, because we did a book where the guy made the girl call him daddy. And that was a little weird for me. Oh, yeah. That was a little weird for me at first. I was like, I don't know.
Well, I think, for one thing, at the time, our daughter was about the same age as the girl. So that's
the girl in the story. Yeah,
right,
she's 30. But I was like, I don't get anything from this personally, you know. And then, but then there is that who's your daddy and all that stuff. But the book does great. Book sells like crazy.
I imagine the kink stuff probably answers this question in the negative light, but as far as like even positive light, with dealing with the romance and maybe the more erotic stuff, like of course I'm going to ask the question of what is the line, like what is too far. But before I get there, I've got to ask, like when with dealing with the erotic and the kink style and fetish style audio formats that you've explored. Has it had any effects, positive or negatively, to your own personal life, your own romance and sex life? Has it enhanced some areas?
I love getting new ideas. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
It's a health thing. A lot of people are in health challenges. Some of our fans are a little older. Some are young on too. We got them all. There's a wide range. There's men too. But we have one lady told us, I live in Tornado Alley. When the tornadoes are coming, I have to listen to something to distract me. We have fans with health challenges, and they say, oh my God, it's just, and then if I feel love, you know, it raises your oxytocin and your serotonin, it lowers your cortisol, lowers your heart rate. And we just look at it as healing for some of these fans. Others of them, it's just a distraction while I load my forklift. But they all seem to love it, and it does a service.
Yeah, we're big fans of healthy, loving touch. Huge fans, because it's so healthy to your soul. And healthy, loving touch with each other. So we're super open to expressing different ways to do that, you know, and coming at a healthy sex life with the idea that this is healthy for you. It's healthy for you. It lowers your cortisol, like you said, raises your oxytocin. One orgasm gives you 100 times more oxytocin than just what? Then what? I don't remember that statistic. Then laughing or whatever.
The first thing we do when someone's harmed or really deeply hurt, emotionally or physically, you know, is a physical touch. It's healing, it's holding, it's connection. And the last thing people experience a lot of times when they're dying is holding someone's hand. And a lot of times, especially now, no one's touching it at all. And we attempt to create, through the author, they've written it, we attempt to create emotion, so that when people say, oh, I go back to this one over and over, there's money. I'll be the first to admit that, you know, there's a mercenary element to all of this. But some of it you feel great when you do it. And there's been times some of these authors write so well. It was Jane Henry, shout out to Jane, that wrote a chapter, and it was deep into a very loving, it had developed. There's not a lot of sex. There's like 8 chapters of drama, 3 or 4 of love. But Jenna stopped narrating. I was like, what's wrong? And she goes, she was choked up.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful. About self-love, especially women thinking that they're okay. Because you know, these are romance books. So
those are those. But and then there you go. It's a great thing to do, to get involved, to feel like you're expressing yourself, even though someone else wrote it.
So we're totally like, this is a public service, you know, getting people to enjoy themselves, even if it's just through listening.
And answer your question, where is it good for your relationship? Oh, hell yeah. Guys get an understanding of where girls are coming from. I constantly comment when we're at lunch and stuff, we're going, wow, I didn't know girls thought that at all. And she's like, oh, hell yeah, we do. Yeah, that's what we think.
That's exactly what we think.
That's exactly what we're thinking. And I'm like, oh my God, I didn't have any idea.
And so that obviously that has helped our intimacy.
Because girls are not just dudes with boobs, you know, they're different. They have some actual real differences.
We have some actual needs.
They have feelings and everything, just like real people, man.
Well, it's just like, you know, I used to joke all the time, like, you know, when you think of 50 Shades of Grey, which to me is just, you know, female porn. you know, they used to say that like reading the Penthouse forums or you know, Playboy magazine or whatever, the erotic stories and all that, it was unrealistic expectations of women. I said, and of course the women that said that are the ones that sit there with the Fabio fucking cover books. And I'm like, yeah, that's realistic expectations. Yeah,
romance novel covers.
Every single dude in these romances has washboard abs.
6-packs are important.
Hugely buff.
Yes.
Just a perfect jaw, perfect hair. Oh yeah. Nobody's a normal guy. No, yeah.
The guys are pretty buff. Yeah, they tend to run in the 6-pack direction.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The girls are pretty hot too. The current book we're in, they're describing the girl more, and this is guys, listen up, little tip here. Girls want to be desired. So in this book where this author's developing how much this character Carter just lusts after this girl, that's part of you're the only woman I see, you're the only woman I have eyes for. Right. And women want to be thought they're pretty. They want to be, I'm in this pretty dress, or I've done my hair, and this is developing another thing that guys don't really try. I mean, I've really learned over the last few years, I go to the gym and go, some of these guys really need to groom. I mean, they need to shine things up a bit, because the girls are always trying, man. Yeah.
All of a sudden,
you accuse them,
just disappear. Green screen for people.
I love the green screen. So yeah, you learn, and it's a terrific thing to do. And I'd like to do something where it blends in both scary and romance in a perfect way. I mean, I didn't care much for
romance.
Well, I wasn't a super big fan. I watched Twilight. I think I saw the first two, which was a vampire. It's a romance, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay.
It's a teeny bopper romance, but it's a romance.
Okay.
That's probably why I'm not that much into it. I'd really rather do something more developed, more evolved than that. But there's a lot of them out there, and as this evolves, we're going to see a lot more of it. It's a exploding industry, and there's different kinds of expression. And we like doing, like I said, we'll put your story it could be in a collection of short stories. That would be fun to do. That would be
cool.
Yeah, we'll get specifics from you.
Yeah.
But I definitely got to ask on the romance side. On the romance, I'm really curious about this. At this point in your career, even when you started, but even now, years later or whatever, with doing the voiceovers for the romance novels and stuff, is this something that like the authors approach you on, or is it walking through Walmart, going to the book section and going, "Oh, we haven't done that one yet"?
Yeah.
There's a way to for authors and narrators to meet in lots of different ways. We got our last 2 books just from fans recommending us to the author.
The authors will ask. There's groups in Facebook, and the listener groups are very big. There's Audio Bookfly, Sister Spotlight. A big one's Oral Fixation. The joke is it's not oral sex fixation, it's oral.
AURAL.
So Oral Fixation is over 10,000 members, and some of them, there's dozens and dozens and growing all the time. So authors go in there and ask, who do you want to hear do my new book? And our last 2 books have been, they said, my fans told me to get you guys. That's because I think we do a lot of this, and I think they like us as friends, and it doesn't hurt. And we've come in with a bunch of people we're kind of moving along with a group of people that we've gone in we started around the same time, and one guy was doing TV commercials. He's evolved into more romance, and it takes a couple years. It isn't get rich quick, but the money's good once you get established. So if you grab a mic and you can use your mouth for money, that's what you want to do. It's pretty fun.
My daughter's not allowed to hear that last part.
Mine either, right?
How old is she?
She's 11. I still have a couple years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, mine's 30. I don't want her to hear it. Our kids are freaked out by what we're doing. They go by the door and, what's Dad doing? Nothing. You don't need to know.
Yeah. There was a couple months there when our older adult kids were just, hanging out at our house just because they were rebooting. Anyway, so both of our older kids, and I couldn't do a love scene with them in the house.
Yeah,
I had to wait. It's like, oh, you're finally going to the gym? Great. And then I'd run down.
We got to do chapter 7. Okay.
We got 20 minutes to make this work.
Yeah.
We got to lay this down, man. Get
Audio
out of your
quickie.
system.
An audio quickie.
That's true. That's true. Then you run to your room and try to act it out really quick.
Yeah.
So it does help.
Yeah.
Hurry up and narrate it because I want to go do this.
I get to see him running out of the studio, like unbuckling his belt.
Oh, yeah.
Like, wait.
Yeah. Yeah, they've gotten a lot more hardened to the fact that we're actors, a lot more. But
Right.
They still, man, early on, they couldn't hear anything. They couldn't even hear bloopers. You know?
Yeah.
Well, you spoke before, like dealing with Amazon and stuff like that, where that would release your audio content.
Right.
But they have like a line you can't cross, basically, like
Right.
as I'm doing here. If I was to put this on terrestrial radio, for example, I have to follow.
Oh no.
guide.
Right.
So I imagine, there is a line. What is the line in your field? Like what is too far?
Yeah, there's very clear lines that are just written out. And then there's if the fans complain, if people go, this is smut,
Right.
And but it has to be a lot of people saying it. And so you've got a lot of latitude. Give you an example. You can't do bestiality. You can't have humans with animals. But she was a wolf and I was a bear and we were shapeshifters. And there's a lot of shape-shifting books. There's lions,
Lots and lots,
werewolves, and they're in love. So you're kind of, well, that's a little different because I'm a bear, you're a wolf, and we're in love, but we can be human. And that, I think they give the paranormal fantasy a license to get away with that. There's no incest allowed. And I don't know who'd want to hear that. I mean, they draw, I don't know, it might be a bait for a big cop thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
And and they always say there has to be consent. And yet we've done lots of dubious consent. And the way that works is the guy.
Yeah, he was a space barbarian.
God.
This is the best one. He was a space barbarian. And I came from a different planet where nobody ever touched.
Yeah.
And I got beamed to his planet.
Right.
And the second I am beamed to his planet.
Mating ritual.
There was
Tiki
a mating.
torches, big drums. Boom, 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 boom. She's running for it.
And he picks me.
And
I'm from this planet where nobody touches anything and nobody touches.
My first line was, "Come to me." And she's like, no. Then I dragged her away to my castle and made her like it.
Yeah, you did.
It's sort of,
and he made me like it in the perfect way that I wanted to be, wanted.
It's just that one actually got a couple of complaints.
Oh, like, he did love to spank her.
Give her a break, for God's sake. And
he
then
spanked the hell out of this
part
person.
2 was a little bit better, eased up a bit. And but they do like BDSM as a popular genre, and it's like they're careful how they write it. The lady in the current book we're reading, she's cleverly introducing that I don't want a dom. My dad killed my mom. He was abusive and he killed her. And the reason she introduced that is it's a great storyline for her to get that really in bondage, often the submissive guides, the dom knows what they want, and that's exactly what they're going to get. There isn't abuse. It isn't that way.
Right.
And that's the kind of bondage that this is. And then, so that revelation will come later in the book that, well, I kind of like the idea of you being a little more aggressive with me.
Right.
And then
but yet
that's
still
how
taking care of me along the way. Right.
It's very, it's called dubious consent because no consent is rape. And so the lines are drawn at bestiality, incest, and rape. And then another place where they break those rules would be true crime, where a guy grabs a girl, drags her in his basement, and he's got the pliers and the torch, and it's going to be ugly. And so if it's torture porn, some of that slips through. We won't read it. That's our line. I'm like, I just don't enjoy.
Yeah. We have to enjoy what we're reading, and we don't enjoy that. Yeah.
We got to like it. And I understand we did a true crime, but it just wasn't very gory. It was, it was that character, Ariel Castro, in California, was a bus driver. He kidnapped high school kids, put him in his basement. They actually had children with him.
Yeah.
And years later, they escaped. And the author handled it really well. I mean, she really reported on everybody's history and feelings and all the things that happened. And then she didn't get it. All you felt was amazed that we couldn't see this guy was a monster.
Right. Yeah.
And just to finish it up, the guy finally got busted and he was shocked. He actually said there was a lot of love in that house. And they said, no, when he got convicted, he killed himself in his cell. So
once he was in jail. Yeah.
Well, yeah. But
well,
I mean, all that time. So those are the rules, simple enough. And they spell them out in writing. But again, there's just those little ways you can get around the bestiality if you do transforming.
Pretty much, if the author is has their book in print form, then it's going to be okay to do it in audible form.
That's true. Okay.
All right,
because it has to be in print form first in order to do an audio version of it at Audible.
And then from that point, it's just personal responsibility. Like if a stepbrother and stepsister fall in love, that's just a no-no for you guys, even though it is in print, or something like that.
Right.
Totally. Yeah. Totally. You can totally just do what you're comfortable with. Absolutely.
Right. Yeah. Okay. And there's something for everyone.
Now the final question I've got to ask before we get into the outros here, and we avoided this because we took the deep end. We didn't start shallow. We went deep first. So let me start with the question that would have been question number one: is how did you find yourselves getting into this field? Like, what drew you guys to not only wanting to do the romance voiceovers and audiobooks, but to turn around into the horror and then into the paranormal? Like, take me through the stages of what brought you to this, to turn around and say, this is what I want to do.
Well, we've, for years, like we said, we were ghost hunting with our older boy way back when he was 11. When did we?
Oh, he was less than a year old. We were in the Willow Hotel. The Night Sightings TV show was there. They had a seance. This hotel is famously haunted
in 1996.
In the cold country.
Right? Or 1995.
Well, he was born in 94. There's a picture in a book. They wrote a book about it. He's got a bottle in his mouth.
Right.
In the picture of us. So that's like 24 years ago, but way before that. So we were interested in the paranormal, but we also were really into Jenna's background is ballet, drama, and those kind of things. And then I was an instructor in the Air Force. I went to radio broadcast school. I went into sales because there's a lot of money in sales. I made money at it. Right. And so I never got behind the mic, but wanted to. So we did TV, we did some radio, but it was just a little here or there.
Right.
And then so when we saw that people were doing the books, I auditioned, and then we got it, the first one, and that happened to be romance, which I probably wouldn't have chosen. But we do love the fans. I mean, we were at Vegas a year ago. Fans are fantastic. And then we were Queen Mary in February. And a lot of them show up at 8 o'clock for the doors to open at noon. So they want to meet the authors and they want to get selfies. And the
narrators.
They're fabulous fans. It's just hard to break away from people that fun.
It's a real supportive community, super supportive.
Yeah.
Everybody who listens or who writes or who narrates, it's a super supportive community, and that's been real nice.
That's the reason we got into it. So we're gonna add scary to it. That's just us.
Yeah.
The ghostly thing is our way, but anyone.
Well, the common thing is just that we're narrating.
Yeah.
Yes. We can easily go from romance to scary the same day.
Yep.
Is there any format of story that you wouldn't want to narrate? Like I obviously like the first one that comes to mind is like obviously not would be like reading Mein Kampf or something. But I mean like genre wise, like maybe not science fiction or not Western or
Yeah, no. Most narrators are pretty open to. I did a book on caffeine. I've done a book on hydroponics.
Yeah.
And then if they want your voice and they pay you, then you can do.
Yeah.
You really can do pretty much anything. We don't do anyway.
We don't do a whole lot of British.
No, there's accents. You have to know what you can do. We can do Latino, I could do Hispanic, you know, anything from. I love Pepe Le Pew, but my favorite was his cousin.
Not Pepe Le Pew.
Speedy.
No,
Speedy Gonzalez.
Speedy Gonzalez.
Yeah. Speedy, we need more cheese for the tacos. You know, I love Cheech Marin. I love doing, and I had a stepdad because my mom was married a lot. And just my favorite was a guy named Carl, but his real name was Carlos. And man, was he elegant. He was like Antonio Banderas, man. Class. Italian wool, herringbone, just a classy dude. But he had a slight, you know, a little bit Hispanic going on, and I loved it. And so and there's elegant, there's high, and there's low. I mean, the British, you know, everybody knows what the Monty Python kind of thing, right? What have the Romans ever done for us, right? But then I was at a pool one day, and this German family was there, and they were playing with our kids. This German kid did something wrong, and the mom lit off, you know, 9 verboten seconds, 999, right? And then she turned to me and goes, terribly sorry, my children haven't been taught. I was like, oh my God, hi, British. So she learned English from the Queen, you know. Right. So you get these accents are so fun, and some books will put a lot on it, and you got to look at it and go, can I maintain that? Can I hold it the whole way through? And so you got to decide if you can perform that or not, and how much of it and how fun it is for you. And you get those choices as you get more known.
The only thing I think we do, but we wouldn't have our heart into it, is a vegan cookbook.
Oh my God.
Because we're not vegan.
Yeah, I want to do a meat book. I want to do bacon wrapped smoked meatloaf.
If you're a vegan, you can wrap this book in a meatloaf and then cook it.
As one of the singing comedians I listen to, Stephen Lynch, would say, "Tofurkey, toe fuck yourself."
Yes.
Well, if anyone has questions, we're happy to answer. That's not a problem too. Use the same form. If you have a scary story, if you're at scaryo.com, you can write comments on the form. Just tell us, hey, I want to hear about how you got into it or whatever. Because we're going to put a video series on Scaryo about what kind of mics there are.
And, true. Yeah. To help podcasters.
Yeah, anybody who's interested in the voice. Yeah, because there's I belong to a lot of groups, and they don't know anything. They don't know dynamic from shotgun, from ribbon, and how much they cost. I'm like, my gosh, this is a mess.
Right.
And it just from the beginner level up, you know, and then when you get into when you're really performing, a lot of our friends are in little tiny. That's you again. What are those called? Booths. When they're in booths like that, they're tiny, and we just can't do it. There's 2 of us for one thing.
Right. So and he's really big.
Well, I just can't claustrophobic. So how to get the room quiet and when you need what kind of mic, and we'll help with questions like that because we're active in the community.
Absolutely. So, you already told people how to contact you, but where can they find your content as well? Like besides scaryo.com, like if they want to hear the romance novels, or if they want to hear the scary novels or whatever.
Well, on iTunes or Audible, Amazon, and iTunes are big distributors. Just look for Gunnar Quaylen or search for Jenna St. Clair, and you'll find all our books. Just search. You don't have to search by a book title. You don't have to search by an author. You can search by narrator, and we'll pop up.
Nice. Guys, this has been an absolute blast. I've had a blast. I definitely want to have you two back on.
Right back at you.
I definitely want to have you two back on again, especially after you've aired my story, because I want to critique what you guys do with it. I'm that.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm that jerk. But again, Gunnar and Jenna, thank you very much for coming on, guys. Again, it's scaryo.com. Make sure you go check out their stuff. You can find them all over Facebook and social medias. And like they said, on Amazon, iTunes, all that, you can find all their content. We will catch you on the next interview section of Breaking the Fourth.
Woohoo!
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Woohoo!
Bye-bye.
What's your effing deal?
What's your effing deal with Chris Rudder?
How's it? You're counting in 5, right?
Yep. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I don't care. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another week of What's Your Effing Deal, this week's entertainment news. Got a couple things to hit on here just to see how everybody feels about it. AEW beat WWE for the 13th straight week at their own game at the Monday Night Wars, relying on the talent of Cody Rhodes, Chris Jericho, and the Young Bucks, beating household names like Kane, John Cena, Triple H. Has Vince McMahon completely lost his sight? As he lost vision of what the crowd really wants to see? The fact that AEW is recording live with audiences, is that something that's getting them over? With all of this going on, going into their next set of pay-per-views, AEW has a substantial lead, and with WWE stock also taking a fall recently, now Vince McMahon is no longer worth $2 billion. He's only worth 1.8. But has he lost touch with the common man that bred Stone Cold and giving it up to the younger generation? I think that's something to kind of keep an eye on. What's everybody think, or are you even aware of this?
I think it's been happening for a while, man.
Yeah. That's where I was with it too. I mean, ever since Vince bought out WCW and ECW and closed them down, he had no competition. And I think his storylines and his story arc just got completely lazy. I think this is the fire WWE needs. I think this is the fire to light under their ass to get their shit in gear. I'm happy that AEW is stepping up. Impact follows suit, or another one comes to give, for no other reason, to give proper competition to the WWE. WWE's product was the best when it was battling WCW Monday night. You had the writers fighting with the right talent and the right personalities and the right gimmicks. And today, with the PG-13 status and Vince being more about entertainment than wrestling and everything else, he's really, really destroyed his own company.
Is anybody else? I think the banned words that Vince has that the guys aren't able to use.
Like wrestler?
Like wrestling.
Sports?
Well, now entertainment has been added to that list, and the PG-13 era, I guess he's finally starting to realize he's dropping the PG-13 ratings. So maybe they're going to make a move in the right direction as an answer to AEW, because they're having color on almost every fucking show. They're really showing some hardcore bumps. And their storylines are more closer to the bone, kind of like the Attitude Era was, where everybody got to play themselves ramped up to 11 on the volume. That's what AEW is doing, and Vince has really lost sight of that. So hopefully it's like a really good segue to maybe Hunter, taking the reins, because if you see any of his promo stuff with NXT, he's quite the motivator with the younger cats, just because he's been there and done that. And I think maybe if they do turn the reins over to him a little bit more creatively, then they might get that 90s push that they got when they were fighting WCW.
That's what I was going to say. Is Triple H? Triple H comes from the Attitude Era, so he would understand it. But I don't know if I necessarily want to see the return of the Attitude Era, because I don't think it'll work in today's society. When the Attitude Era was running in the late 90s, we were still in the Generation X angsty, mentality for the world. It worked because it spoke to us as a generation. I think you have to come up with something original that speaks to this generation of wrestling fans.
I think a 49-year-old who deals with the younger guys every day, as opposed to the 80-year-old who sits in the boardroom mostly, is going to be a lot more likely to find what that is. That's the only reason.
Triple H has been very involved for a long time because he's part of the family. So I think that he should take more power and more control, because he knows kind of what goes over, and after time you kind of figure it out if they want to be any competition, or they're losing tons of money. They're hemorrhaging money. He sold the XFL to The Rock the other day.
Yeah, for $30 million. Yeah.
I'm just saying, they have no fans, no merch sales. This is hitting them hard. So let's see what happens. If they can't step it up, and they're going to just be gone.
Well, yeah, but with the XFL's failure, it failed twice. And did he ever think maybe because of the fact that you picked the shittiest cities to throw fucking XFL teams into? Go to real football cities. Go to Philadelphia. Go to Dallas. Go to Denver. Real football cities. Not fucking New Jersey. Not fucking California, Los Angeles. They ain't football cities. They wouldn't support that. Come on, I'm not even joking. Let's be real. There are real football cities out there that did not have an XFL team. You wonder why your fucking brand failed twice? That's why.
Yeah.
Their best market and their best fan base was the St. Louis, the Blackhawks, or whatever the fuck, the Chickadees, or whatever the fuck they called themselves. That was their best market during this last iteration. Like they had some real diehard fans and they were selling out there, but everywhere else it was pretty, lackluster ticket sales because they're already in football cities or in cities where they have so many other entertainment options or football options. Like having a team in Dallas when you already have the fucking Cowboys there, don't nobody give a fuck about anything else but the Cowboys at AT&T Stadium. And if you can't get AT&T Stadium, then, why bother? So I think they would have been better off to be like in San Antonio or something.
They need to come to Denver. Yeah, but they need to. We're diehard.
Or they could have put one in Cleveland. They don't have a football team there, I think.
And they haven't for years, from what I've heard.
Well, we're proud of the Lakers making it to the playoffs. Like, who's been talking about the Lakers in the past 2 decades? Well, we are. Like, we support our teams.
Well, that's the deal. Like, even speaking on Dallas, like, okay, that's Cowboys Nation. I know that. Being an Eagles fan, of course I know that, that's Cowboys Nation. But I know Texas in general. Like, if they don't have the Cowboys to watch high school football, they just want football. Yeah, they'll watch touch football out in the fucking park just because they're dying for football. Like, that is a football state.
Yeah, big time.
How do we get 5 random people on a podcast and 2 Philadelphia Eagles fans? That's just
I don't get this. Yeah, I'm properly speaking, I'm taking it back. Okay, so for the next,
it's quite peculiar. One might say clear.
For the next topic in this week's entertainment news, they are considering, and they are in contract talks right now with Will Smith to reboot Fresh Prince and Bel-Air with a twist. This time, they're going to bring it back as a drama. I don't know if this shows how out of touch Will Smith has become because Jada has cuckolded him into submission. But the fact that they're even thinking about doing this is just I don't see where they plan on going. I'm sure it'll be in and out in one season. I don't know. What's everybody think about them even rebooting it? And then second of all, changing it to a fucking drama like that says so much social commentary that's going to be almost like throw up worthy, I think.
Yeah, pretty much.
I can't do it.
No, my first, I heard about the reboot. I didn't hear that it was supposed to be a drama.
Yeah,
I heard about the reboot.
I heard that.
Yeah.
My first
if it's a drama, like cute.
Yeah,
you can't do it without a pill.
Right.
That was my first response.
Supposed to fucking dance during the goddamn drama. Like, how does that fit in? Come on, dude.
That's it. How do you have a show without Carlton shuffle? I mean, come on.
His dance will be interpretive dance now since it's drama.
Yeah, by candlelight with feathers.
A little tear coming down at the end and the zoom in on the tear.
Let's just go out. Let's make it an hour-long police drama at that. Let's just really go crazy with it. Why not? We're gonna
like how
that's drama in Beverly Hills.
How far are we going to go with this? Is Carlton going to become like a transgender like he was originally Carlita? And he became a transgender male and who's homosexual and he only does the Carlton dance at gay clubs. Like how deep are we going to take into this?
And what kind of cases does Uncle Phil talk about with everything going on? Like that's the drama part of it is bringing some of because he was a judge.
Yeah,
so, they're going to have to bring some of that into each one of the episodes more than likely if they're trying to spin this on its head and make it a drama instead of the comedy. And how do you have Will Smith and Carlton walk into the same room and not fucking laugh? And so, and then the sister who was so posh and like way over the fucking top with almost semi-white privilege. Like, how do you fit that in?
There's too much drama.
She'd be the Bachelorette. She'd be the Bachelorette,
or Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. She'll be, it's so odd thinking about floating this in.
I'll definitely tune in. I'll tune in on the episode where the butler finally has had enough of all their shit and goes into a fucking murder raid.
I think what we need to do next is we need to reboot Married with Children as a reality show.
Fuck yeah.
Hell yeah. I'm down for that. Big Brother is Married with Children.
The older I get, the more I identify with Red Foreman and Al Bundy. That's for that is a reality. Yeah.
Oh my god! Like,
that 70s show is going to be brought back as a historical documentary.
Yeah,
like I'm really stuck on this. I get the reboot thing because Hollywood's out of ideas, but a drama? How do you turn the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air into a drama?
That don't fit with me. I don't see it.
Jada has cuckolded him into a corner and just making him fucking do things.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is this an ego thing? Well, maybe it's an ego thing. Maybe Will got tired of everybody else kind of like showing him up on the original show, and so he's making everybody else dramatic while he does the comedy relief.
Yeah.
Maybe maybe.
Because Fresh Prince, you can't make Fresh Prince serious. They tried that in music. They called it Will Smith.
Horrid. Fuck.
All right, that's all I got for this week.
All in the Family, the horror.
Oh, nice.
Oh, wait. Has anyone checked out the new Ozzy Osbourne show?
What's that?
Have you checked out the new Ozzy Osbourne show, since we're talking about new shows, where Jack presents videos of UFOs, Bigfoot, paranormal to prove to his parents that they exist?
Yeah, I saw that. I think it's called like the Osbournes Want to Believe. I haven't watched it yet, but I heard about it. It's something I really want to check it out.
Wow.
It's a reboot that I agree with.
Ozzy
it was funny. He was talking about. You guys were talking about Jada cuckolding Will into doing things. I was like, oh, so I was thinking in my head, so she's the Sharon to his Ozzy. He's too far gone. Just make him do shit for money. We'll be good.
Yeah.
Anybody want a burrito? Wait a minute. Can we go back to that picture of the fucking Amazon delivery guy? Because we might see Ozzy chasing after him with a pooper scooper.
Why don't we just get the picture of Ozzy Osbourne with the bat in his mouth?
There you go.
Coronavirus. He's got the antibodies.
Yeah. It beats making a smoothie with it.
Yeah.
Avoid smoothies at all costs. That's my new mantra.
Strawberries will never do me the same.
This smoothie's a little salty.
Every time I see someone drink a smoothie from here on out, I'm just going to giggle. Do you know what might be in?
Yeah, when Orange Julius asks you if you want an egg in there, they're not asking about one. They're asking about millions.
Yeah.
You asked for
Orange Julius is going to go horribly, horribly wrong.
Would you like an egg in that or a million?
Would you like protein?
Protein. It's going horribly wrong. Yeah.
Oh,
it on the skin.
God damn.
No more smoothies for me.
We need that on right now. It rubs the lotion on his skin, or else it gets the hose again.
I have a friend who could say it perfectly.
See, that's a song we need to get for this show. It's called Lotion by a group called the Greenskeepers. They're fantastic. That's it's his tribute.
I thought you were talking
Buffalo Bill.
I thought you were I thought you were talking about the act song "Goodbye Horses" by fucking what was it, Lazarus Q or whatever, one he dances to. Goodbye horses.
Would you fuck me? I would
you
fuck
me?
Oh, okay.
I'd fuck you.
I want to get do you call my name? That'd be a good song. Okay, so getting back to the skin thing. Okay, so I have a snail. He's a huge snail. Okay. All the kids come to my house to play with my snail. And he didn't look like he was doing very good. I've had him for like 10 months, and he just didn't look as healthy as normal. And he's a big old guy. And so I started looking up online, like the slime conditions and shell. And I found out that in Korea, they all own like a bunch of these slug slime things in order to rub it all over their face. So my snail, all of his secretion, I'm supposed to be collecting like the Koreans and rubbing it on my face. And all I could think about is, why would you own a bunch of snails? I have one. The Koreans. When you look online for what to do about your skin on your snail, my snail looks dehydrated. So I looked online, and all it is rub it on your face. Rub the slime on your face.
Is this a North or Korean thing?
You know what? I think it's probably a North Korean thing because information is low.
Yeah, that's the land.
Of name him Gary.
That's the only information we were able to get from North Korea is they put snail slime on their faces.
Yeah, nobody else seems to have snails as pets. I guess I'm the first one.
That's the only thing Dennis Rodman came back with after his talk.
That's what
he has great skin.
Like, you know what? It makes sense. I mean, that explains why their leader looks like a snail without a shell.
Right.
You know?
Oh, his mouth, definitely. Oh, God.
You think they just pack them around in North Korea and rubbing on their faces? Yay!
Yeah, I think if you have a whole bunch of them, why not just pluck them all on your skin while you go to sleep? They can just crawl around, do their job. You'll be all fresh and ready to go in the morning. Just pluck them
do. It eats away all the bad stuff on your skin. So they do. They just stick snails on their skin and let it go at it.
What kind of fucked up world do you have to live in where you can sit there and lay there asleep with shit crawling on your face like that? That's a really fucked up place to be.
Well, you also thought, like, they like to be pet. So I guess they're finding out new things about them every day. Yeah, pet your snail. That's what they say. To make it secrete, you have to pet your snail.
Yeah.
Pet your snail.
Yeah, SpongeBob has a pet snail.
This is an X-rated show. That is true. SpongeBob does have a pet snail.
Yeah, Gary.
Gary, that meow. Wow.
That doesn't explain all the pores.
Yeah, I mean, it works great for his complexion.
Yeah.
I am putting so much shit together right now. SpongeBob has a pet snail that meows. That entity has just let us know that you need to pet your snail at least once a day to have it secrete. There is way more content in that show than I ever put together.
We didn't know all the directions it was going to go. See, you learned about sperm smoothies.
Little minds.
You learned about the use of sperm smoothies in the fight against coronavirus, and now skincare from a slug trail. So,
compliments of Gary.
Oh my God!
That's this week in entertainment.
yeah, we're going to be some healthy people with pretty skin at the end of this. This is great.
Pretty skin and empty ball sacks.
And a lot of questions.
Yeah, did Serenity freeze or did she leave? The time to pet her snail.
Oh Jesus! Oh wait!
Yep.
Oh,
if she comes back with
maybe.
Yep.
If she comes back with that goddamn snail, I'm gonna freak out.
This reminds me of a joke. Why do skanks have legs? So they don't leave a snail trail on linoleum.
There you go. Yeah. So I'm curious. Are we going to have separate names for episodes of this show, or kind of like I do with mine? I think "Time to Pet the Snail" is a possible episode title for this one. That's when
I think that's fair. I think that's fair. I think that's absolutely fair. I was just going to say, breaking the fourth wall weekly podcast, maybe the date of release or whatever.
Okay.
But yeah, we can do that. We could just title it. Fuck it.
That's
BT4W weekly podcast.
Right. If you've ever listened to the Life, that's what I do on the Life. Is I just name the episode title, whatever dumb shit comes to mind while we're recording. So I've had some fun ones. And it'll be like the life number so and so, and then the episode title is how I have fun with it. But
smoothies and care for your snails,
right?
Snail care.
Uses for a slug trail. That would be.
Keep your smoothies hard and your snails. Keep your smoothies hard and your snails moist.
Yeah, there you go.
But if there was a salon for snails, if you brought your snail there, could you trust they wouldn't use your snail on someone else's skin?
Oh yeah, because that's gonna spread the corona.
Well, there you go.
Don't be giving away my slime now.
that snail trail is mine.
Oh, damn it.
All right, so I'm kind of like procrastinating on the next segment to see if Serenity does come back or not. But I guess it's a good segue into the least joke of the day, so we might as well get into that. Joke of the day. Take my wife, please. That, all right, guys, for this segment here, this was a brainchild of on here. Who had originally come up with the idea of us kind of roundtabling a joke of the week, I guess you could say, and us judging on which was the best of the jokes. There she is. She's back. We didn't lose her.
There she is.
Yeah.
Where's your snail?
Yeah, where's your snail? Are you bringing your snail back?
Can you hear us?
She's very focused right now.
She is really focused.
Yeah, just like
Serenity, can you hear us?
Can you hear us? Testing 529.
Check 1 2.
309.
Can you hear me now?
6, 7, 5, 309. Yeah.
Yeah, where the hell is that Verizon guy when you need him?
Right?
Can you hear me?
You know what you never hear in those Verizon commercials? The other end of the conversation.
No,
exactly, because it's Verizon. That's why you can't hear it.
Well, she's probably getting a better signal in the house.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Still no sound, but a better signal. It's
So we all have a joke. Is that what we're supposed to be for this segment? We each have a joke, or are we just running with one, Stolle?
Well, let's have the creator come up with the rules here for joke of the week. Essentially, the way I understood it was that each of us tell a joke, and I guess we kind of vote on which one was the best of the week. So okay. I don't know. Am I correct on that?
I don't have one.
Oh, I didn't prepare it.
Yeah.
Oh, she hears it. Yay, she's back.
Yeah, my phone overheated and shut down. Even my headphones are not working.
Well, we can hear you now.
Yep.
We thought you were getting a snail.
Yeah, we thought you were going to show us your pet snail.
Yeah, if you did, I was going to talk about. That would have been
It's adorable. And I'm not like, I have a pet snail. I can't help it. I saved him. So I got him. And
Gary?
stuck to him right now.
Is his name Gary?
Can you see him?
Yeah. Looks like Gary.
Is his name Gary?
Meow. We can name him Gary.
There you go.
Gary.
What's up, Gary?
How do you not name him Gary?
We have to pet him.
Don't give Gary beer.
I'll just give him cucumber.
Not puke beer.
Yeah, just not Blue Moon.
No Blue Moon. No. Actually, my mom's been a gardener. My mom's been a gardener, a really good gardener for many years. And when we have slugs in the garden, put a dish of stale beer out in your garden, and the slugs will be drawn to it, and then they'll drink it and explode.
Huh. Now, the problem is you leave beer in the garden, the Amazon drivers will be going to get it too.
Oh, yeah.
And they just have brown logs everywhere.
Right.
Something to drink while pooping.
New IPA, exploding slugs.
All right, so I guess I'll start off the joke of the week. I'll use a classic one that I've used before. This one was actually told to me by my grandfather, but I kind of built off of it. Give me 3 words that'll ruin a man's ego.
Is that it?
Is it in?
Really, just got all excited.
What's that?
Oh, there
let me give you the build off. Let me give you the build off. The answer is it in? But how do you destroy a woman's ego? What response do you give to destroy a woman's ego? I'm not sure. All right, that's my joke of the week. There you go.
Okay, I have one. What's the difference between decide and choose?
What?
Decide is whenever you make a decision. Choose is something Mexicans put on their feet.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, shit.
Choose.
That's terrible.
It is terrible, but it's funny.
I
think that's the winner so far, unless anybody else has got any to pitch in.
Well, here's the thing. I didn't know those were the rules. So the fucking comedian doesn't have a joke. I'm a storyteller comedian. I don't have set up funny jokes like that. So I got nothing.
A man walked into a bar. Ow.
All right. Well, I'll go back to the joke I told Chris earlier when we first came in here. So this beautiful woman walks into a bar, and she sits down, orders a drink, and she gets her drink and has a sip, and she looks across the bar, and she sees this little old man sitting at the other end, and she's feeling kind of froggy, so she walks over to him and says, "Hey, baby, $100, and I'll do whatever you want, but you gotta ask me to do it in 3 words." So he sits there for a moment, he thinks, reaches in his wallet, pulls out $100, hands it to her, and says, "Paint my house."
But I think the decider chooses the winner this week. That's my vote. Decider choose.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That was something my mom told me yesterday.
That was the one your mom told you yesterday?
Yeah, my mom.
Your mom of all people.
Yeah, I know.
Oh my god. Well,
all right, so that's joke of the week. Guys, in the comments section down below, if you got a joke you want us to read on air, leave it in the comment section down below. We'll choose our favorites and we'll read them on air during the joke of the week. But until then, let's move on. Guys, guess what? It's after hours time. Sure. When Realm of Mist Entertainment had a whole bunch of different shows, After Hours was one of those shows, and what it was, and some of the people here know about it, is that it was just a goofy show of us being silly and outrageous and just having a conversation. Well, it's now reduced down to a segment on Breaking the Fourth Wall weekly podcast. But this one's going to have a little bit more of a serious tone and a little bit more of a real conversation. And the reason being is because I wanted to make sure we got in on this. Now, I will share to you guys after the show, the audio segment, because I did forget to you guys that Serenity wanted everybody to check out, but I wanted to have the opportunity to sit down and discuss what she went through the past couple weeks.
Wait. Why don't we should save this for Halloween.
You want to save it for Halloween?
I think we should save it for Halloween. You don't, I mean,
I guess she believes that we'll be around for that long.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
She's very optimistic.
You should let them hear it. Okay, let them hear it and see if they would like to know the story. Why don't you just play the EVP and let them hear it, and then we'll see if they want to know. Colin has it.
I don't know if I have it. I was about to say I don't know if I have it on my computer. Well, I know it's in my email. I don't know if I have it loaded in my computer. I can hold my phone to the microphone.
There you go.
Yeah, why don't? Well, all you really have to. Yeah, I don't know, but Colin and Chris can attest to what it is and see if you guys are even interested in talking about it. But I have a lot of proof, documentation, witness statements about a haunting.
There's a lot of photographs, and there's an actual EVP from her home. To give you the long and the short of it is that her house was haunted after she bought what can only be assumed is a cursed item or artifact into her house. And as soon as she brought this item into her house, her daughter automatically started seeing visions of basically apparitions and a man and like, you know, a little girl holding strawberries, like some weird stuff. And I know that
it's in my garage.
What is the item?
I want to.
I guess we want to talk about it, so let's go ahead and get into it.
Absolutely, I want to talk about this. We got to know.
Okay, so the EVP in the beginning, if you listen to it on highly developed equipment like I get with my sound studio guys, you could hear him say something right when it starts, like hear or look or something. Then 39 seconds into it, you hear a man next to the speaker say, look at this. But in between that point, you hear a bunch of cellar doors shutting and big keys jangling. And Colin has actually lived in this household. So Colin can attest to there are no key jangling doors. There are no big heavy cellar doors here. The sounds coming out of that room were of a dungeon, and this book is 117 or 118 years old, about the Salem witch trials, which is the true accounts of what they did to torture and arrest them and how everything really went down. And the book took over my house for a while, and this guy said, come, look at this. On the EVP, 39 seconds into it, and there's multiple sounds. I have tons of, it makes me shake even thinking about it. I have tons of proof of them being around, and in the end, they end up writing something on the inside of my windshield one day, and I have proof of that. It was about a 3-week haunting before I got my house blessed, and the book is actually going to the Warren Museum for the Occult, so it could be with Annabelle. So it's a pretty scary story, but Colin and Chris were both there for me through it. Colin saw and heard everything pretty much real time. So so did Chris.
There was some freaky parts to it, like Serenity was telling me, she, you know, her 4 or 5, I forget, year-old daughter, like the day the book came into the house, all of a sudden talking about like somebody I believe you said it was a little girl. It was a little girl holding strawberries.
Okay, no, that was after the book was in the house because I was doing research for my writing, and it was brought out of the house in an unsafe manner. The house became haunted because I didn't take care of it properly. The first time it came in the house, my daughter started talking about how there was a man that was trapped in a cage that was very cold, and there were words all over the walls. And she started drawing pictures and maps of my house and putting upside down crosses in places. And I sensed something was crazy. And then the book, I opened it, and it's a misprint that his wife printed the year after he died. So it was her personal copy. Out of a volume of books, I only have one of these books. You can't find the rest of the volume. I can't even find a duplicate that looks like the one that I have in the year that I have. I can't find this book. And my daughter was very talkative about this man, cold, who wants out. He's cold and he wants out of the cave. Well, the paper wasn't cut, so it looked like a cave trying to look in the book. And I put it in the closet, and Berlin, my daughter, started drawing a picture, and she drew a picture of my house where my closet was and said, he's here, the ghost is here, and put upside down crosses. And at the time, she was 3, almost 4. It was at 4. So I took it out of the house, and things just got really crazy from there. The EVP will really let you hear a lot, but living it was completely insane. And my daughter was a big catalyst in what I was protecting in that. And Chris, I'm sure because of your background, you're going to really enjoy the EVP. And it was not even meant to be EVP. I wanted to prove to myself there was nothing in my house because I wanted to protect my daughter. I didn't even want anything to be on it. It happened.
Who did the cleansing of your house?
I had somebody come and baptize it.
Without
very
giving away a name. So you had somebody do it from a current religious standing. You had a Baptist come in and bless. Is that what Baptist come in and bless?
Yeah, but they've also dealt with demons and exorcisms before. Okay. So they did my car before I realized. I knew the words were on my car and I didn't know what they meant, but they ended up, there was some crazy lights going on in my car. My lights wouldn't go off in my car. I couldn't turn them off, but Eric could turn them off, or a man could, basically any man could turn them off, but no women could. A lot of crazy incidents happened where a light came out of my front window from in my bedroom, where my daughter was having dreams of a woman with what looked like very juicy little strawberries, very red strawberries in her hand,
Could
which
she
now
smell
feel
them?
like bird hearts. Was
Could she
coming
smell
after
the
her.
strawberries?
What?
Could she smell the strawberries?
I didn't ask her that, but I will ask her that. She's very intuitive.
Very
but
important question, because if the apparition is posting itself that way where you can actually smell what they're showing you, then that means it's like super fucking close, and it's pretty fucking strong. And has anybody come in and since blessed the house with sage?
Yes, I have sage. I have a piece of holy wood from San Pedro Forest or something. I've done tons of blessings. I have trinkets all around the house that were made by somebody. They're all angels, and they were made by Kathleen, which a few of you know who Kathleen is. So they're protective. And
are you using farm sage or white sage?
I think that honestly, it's just a packet I got because I didn't have anything. My parents had a fire when I lived in California, so I didn't have anything.
Okay. Check and make sure that it isn't white sage, because white sage is used by Native Americans, and if you don't bless asking their permission to use their roots, that can actually be a bad thing too. If you have encountered that, that is a very important thing to Native Americans and whatnot. But that's actually like a real deal. If you use their sage without asking their permission, it can almost like backfire.
Yeah, no. What I ended up doing was I used this holy wood from this forest, and I went around the house, and you have to remember that my daughter is here this entire time, so I was trying to bless my house and keep it protected, and I wasn't able to, and there's a picture where it looks like Spawn is in my car, but not just one, there's 3 of him in my car, the night, and a picture of a hand that's not a human hand, writing a German Dutch word on the inside of my windshield and the word bye. It says GUIT, bye. And I thought it meant goodbye, but goot, I guess, is early colonial Salem type word that they used for troublemaker. So it was crazy. And I had somebody with me the night that there was nothing on my windshield. So I took pictures and there was nothing there except for the spawn eyes. And then I get home and I'm on the phone and I have a witness with me to see the fact that there's these words on my window within 4 blocks. 4 blocks, nothing. Now there's these words on my window, on the inside of the window when nobody was in my car.
Now, since you've shipped the book off and had these blessings done, has it all completely stopped or is it just slowed down?
It took a few days. They told me it would take a few days because I couldn't get them all out. But with no energy, we kind of left my house after sun went down and stayed away from it at night. With no energy that went into any of that, and we stayed away. I did some EVPs and I've sat around my house at night and it seems to be clean. But my garage is definitely not clean. It's knocking things over. Cabinets are opening.
Okay, so you have some residual left over. So yeah, that's pretty common with something like that that's so attached to a book, because that's like somebody's, depending on how it gets described, as much as somebody's essence or their pain goes into the writing of that book, and that's why it becomes haunted. That's why one of my 3 biggest fears in the world is antique furniture, because they get attached to by spirits. Actually, way more common than people think. The other 2 are spiders and midgets, but we won't go into that. I have
a few things that might be haunted, but this is okay. So when I first saw it the first night, I asked my friend, who's a pastor, for a prayer. When Berlin was speaking about the ghosts for the first time, 10 minutes after the book came in my house, and I'm asking my friend for a prayer. The book is on my lap, and I'm sitting on the couch. I open up the prayer, and I start thinking in my head the words that I'm about ready to say out loud, and my body seized up, like like when you get shocked or something, my body seized up, like just convulsed by my head. Yeah, completely convulsed, thinking and about ready to speak the words of the prayer that he said for me to say about protection because of the book, and he knew what was happening and stuff. So this book was taken out of my house immediately, and I have a detached huge garage here, so it has its own little play area, and it comes with its own little partner doll. I don't know if you could see this little girl, but she comes with the book. See,
them things are creepy as it is anyway.
Yeah,
you have to get that off of your property. Post haste.
Okay, well, this book, Chris, I'd like to get your impression. So this book is the book. It's 118 years old. I don't know.
Open up the cover. Can you open up the cover for me? That's been rebinded. That doesn't do any good. Let me see the inside of it.
Okay.
Don't read anything out loud. To zoom in on that for me, if you don't mind, please.
Yeah, I'm trying to see what that is, but.
That's a new index. So, whoever there's been a rebinding done on that book, and okay, so I'll go back to that template there. Let me see that lithograph.
That's him. I'm trying to find the specific page because it's not copyrighted under his name. It's copyrighted under his estate by his wife.
Right. Okay, that makes sense.
Just for people.
There's pictures, but here it is. Copyright 1902. Copyright 1902 by Abby M. Fisk. Executive.
Okay, don't read anymore. Don't read her name out.
Just for people that are listening to the audio version of this podcast right now, we are looking at the actual haunted book. Serenity is showing us through her phone cam. So the silences that you guys heard actually looking at this book.
Okay, so
there's pictures. Okay, so this is our history, and this is the Salem trials. And what I want to show you is my daughter was talking about with the cave. If you look, these pages, they weren't cut properly. So when you say it was rebound, what happened was it was reprinted. But when it was reprinted, it wasn't recut. So do you see?
Yeah, I see that. That's common with 1800s printing, especially with first editions. Okay, so
that's the cave my daughter was talking about with words all over the wall that he's cold and trapped, and he wants us to let him out.
Okay, yeah. So
there's a page that's split in the middle. That again, audio versions.
There's a so that needs to be boxed and put up and got off your property along with that doll. There's a couple of binding spells to help keep what has possessed the book within the box and not being. But you need to get that the fuck off your property, like now, and stop.
Chris, let me ask you.
Well, the Warren Museum accepted it.
Okay, good. So, when are they going to take it?
So.
Let me ask you.
Their address and they told me to ship it, and I'm hesitant. I want something in paper saying that if they take the book and it's on their property, that they're going to keep it protected within the museum where it is blessed.
The Warren Museum is incredibly good and diligent at these things. That's what they specialize in. I would take them at their word, because the alternative is your daughter being fucked with. Okay. Because
so let me explain something. When they said, come look at this about my daughter, because my daughter looks like Doris.
Yeah.
I apologize for technical difficulty.
Yeah.
She's in the garage where she's keeping the book, and I guess she's got a bad signal in there.
The signal isn't that good now.
Yeah, it's warbling really bad. Yeah, I would only strongly suggest that you get it out of there. You run the risk of your daughter being fucked with even more, and this turning into something even worse than what it is.
Chris, let me ask you a question on this, and consider my ignorance, if you will. But with Serenity wanting to hold on to the book until she can get it to this museum, until she can get the assurances that the museum will give it the proper, proper respect, I guess, for the lack of a better term here, to be able to ship it out of her house. Until then, could she not put it in a airtight sealed box and, for lack of a better term, proper burial, give it a funeral rite? Would that not help?
No, they banished the man that was in the book into the ground of my property, and right now he's not in the book. The guy who was in my book haunting my house is not in the book right now. He's in my ground. The people, they were very religious, Christians who came over to do the house, but I'm able to catch things. So right after they left, we were talking, me and my friends who witnessed what happened, we're talking about how it still felt like they were right. It felt better, but not perfect. And as we were talking about how the guy was still there, but not in the book, a big, heavy owl that has been sitting on the top of my daughter's playpen play area for 6 months knocks over, just a gust of wind knocks it over. So we're sure that he's still around, but he's just not bound to the book. So what I'm afraid of right now is they took the book and they banished him from the book, and now he's bound to my property. So the book is back outside, and I want to get him back in the book. And I don't know what the fuck to do, but he's on my property. My neighbors have seen shadows walking up to my door. One of my friends who doesn't believe in ghosts swore she saw somebody walking up to us and didn't know what was going on. So he's on my property.
Okay, so after the show's over, I'll give you a couple contacts that are there in the Denver area that especially because now you're past the point of having a preacher or a Christian actually being able to help you. You need somebody who actually knows what they're talking about on this, and
a demonologist or a Puritan.
So some people with super they're really adept in the occult. Okay. There's a couple people that I know that I can direct you to that they will be able to get you help there in the Denver area. I'm sure
that would be very appreciated. Like,
but
you need help from someone who's Wiccan or shaman.
Point of a preacher or a Christian helping you, to be honest. All they've done has been good.
Because, they harmed it.
Yeah. So, and like I said, that's why regardless of where he is, like this is whatever the possession level is, whether he's on the property or no longer belongs to the book, he can be put back, or regardless, the Warren Museum is world famous. I mean, they know what they're doing. If you have communication with them about what has happened since then,
I've been talking to two of them. Yeah, Tony Spraza and.
Have you told them the story of him being banished from the book and now he's on your property?
No, I haven't, because I asked them if they could come and help me. I asked them for help first, and I said, do you know anyone who could come and take the book off my property and you could have it? And they said, we have no one in Colorado. So they said I had to ship it to them. And I'm like, but you don't understand, like, it's coming in my house and it's fucking with my daughter and it's doing a lot of things around my house. Like, there's pictures of a light coming within my bedroom out of a blackout curtain, which I have blackout curtains up in every room. But the blackout curtain at night, a light coming out of it and going across the wall of my house. And it has a face in it, and it has a moving face in it. I mean, Chris and Colin could both attest to the fact that there's a blackout curtain that has light that literally pops out of my bedroom and goes across my wall with faces in it. Like,
I'll send you guys the picture of the EVP after the show, so you guys can check it out for yourself. That she sent me.
And we have tons of photos.
What's his face at the War Museum that you're talking to? You need to make sure and reiterate that this is what has happened, because they do have people who will help you on that part of it. They're not understanding that he's been banished from the book and now taken up on your property. There's definitely like specific charms and bindings and stuff like that to help with this kind of thing, to help with this. And they know people who do travel who actually like do this. Okay. So even though they don't have somebody in Denver, they have somebody within their network who will come to you, because this is something that they'll want to document for the museum. B, make sure that the museum gets a proper copy of the book. Having a copy of the book where the ghost has been banished from does them no good. It's just a display. But
there's a woman attached to it, which I could only assume is his wife. She's still she's powerful. She's still right there. I call it a congregation.
I get that she's there. They'll want it to be intact, though, is what I'm saying. They'll want to have, just like them displaying Annabelle, the doll, like you're not allowed to touch it. They don't take it out of the glass case, blah, blah, blah. They have all the providence with it and everything.
So they're
very well versed on how to deal with this.
The person who banished the demons or whatever that were coming at us, because they were coming to look at my daughter. My daughter looks like Dorcas Good, like Martha Good, like Sarah Good's daughter, and she's about the same age, and everything adds up with the timeline of Sarah Good's hanging and this all happening. It all lines up. And they were saying, come look at this right on the other side of where my daughter's head is, because it's in her bedroom that I did the EVP, but she's not sleeping in there because I kept seeing a dark figure and my daughter kept speaking about it. And I finally put an EVP out there to prove that there was nothing. And it came back with everything, and it triggered a lot of things to happen. And I need some help. Like, I appreciate you, and I would definitely take you up on your offer of help, you know.
For our YouTube listeners and viewers, at the end of the episode, I will try to edit the picture together with the EVP, and I will add it to the end of the episode so you guys could check it out for yourself. Again, I'm going to send it to everybody in the panel so you guys could check it out, and we could definitely revisit this on the next episode if we want to, after you guys have actually had the opportunity to hear and experience what she's talking about. But I definitely want to dig into this here from Colin and Don's standpoint, because both of them have been completely quiet during this. Don has had a very thoughtful look on his face the whole entire time.
Well, I'm just wondering if there's any way I could pull it up. Like, Chris, can you pull up any pictures or?
I have to edit it together. It's all off the computer right now. It's on my phone.
Yeah, with me, I'm extremely curious about it because I've always had an interest in it, but I've never actually seen or heard anything that would make me think that the paranormal is a real thing. I don't know if I'm not connected or if I'm not spiritual enough or what. I mean, I've been to some places where I really was hoping not really hoping, but thought it would be interesting to see. I've done some filming in Post-Town Elementary School outside of Germantown, Ohio, which is supposed to be a very haunted place. There was a train wreck there. It was an elementary school. They used it to house like hundreds of victims from this train wreck. It was a very creepy place, but I didn't see anything that would make me an actual believer. I was cast in a movie that was going to be filmed at night at Bobby Mackey's Music World in Northern Kentucky, which is also known as Hell's Gate. I was really looking forward to going down there because of the stories I heard, but they lost their funding and we didn't get to film there. But I've always had an interest in these kind of things, but I've never seen anything. I've never heard an EVP that didn't sound like anything but noise to me. So I'm definitely, you definitely piqued my curiosity with this.
Okay, well, I can't play the EVP because my other phone doesn't.
Well, yeah, I'll definitely when Chris puts everything together, I'll definitely listen to it.
Yeah, and then Chris has a bunch more pictures than I currently have, and Colin does too. So there's pictures of a hand across my windshield and a picture before that because I felt like someone was watching me. And I was gazing at the park with a friend of mine. So in the car, I consciously took a picture all the way around me. And I didn't go back and look at them until after it had all kind of calmed down. And there's a hand. There's this guy that looks like Spawn in it. It's
wow.
Let Chris send you a nice package because I'd really like to see what Chris and Don you think. Because Colin, why don't you explain kind of what your role in this was?
Well, I'm somewhat familiar with the occult because I'm a pagan believer. I grew up Catholic, but I actually believe in a lot of other things. And I understand a lot of it because of my own personal study. So I recommended that she cleanse her doorways and her thresholds so that way that she would be at least protected for her home. And then I suggest that she looks into witch balls or witch bottles to try to control the situation on her property. But to do that, she should research it and understand it first before she tries it.
I wouldn't suggest the bottles, but the salt around all of your openings while you're talking about what you're trying to protect yourself from. It's basically a doorway keeper. You do that around all of your doors and thresholds and your windows. And you can go online and look up the White Witch's Almanac, and it has 3 or 4 incantations to speak while you're laying the salt. That's where you need it, but I would not do the bottle until you actually know what you're doing because I can come back on.
That's something you should study for content.
Well, hold on. Chris and Colin both, because they are Puritans, like because of the EVP, it's almost like you're at one point you're off the channel, and it's like you hear a channel, but you're not quite on the right dial. It definitely sounds like a pastor speaking. I believe it's a Puritan man speaking because back then, going to church, they used to go to each other's houses and speak. So I think that this was more of a Puritan situation, and they hated witches. So if I start using incantations and stuff like that, I'm afraid of the flashbacks because of their hatred for that. Right. I did salt, and I did an EVP in the bathroom in her bedroom, and in both the bathroom and her bedroom, after I did the salt and blessings, you could hear them tapping on the window.
Mm-hmm. From the outside?
Yep, from the outside. You could hear it. I mean,
okay.
They were outside at that point, but I couldn't keep that protection up. It drained me. Ask Colin and Chris. It was sucking the energy out of me trying to contain a barrier of protection around my daughter. And my property is huge, so there's a lot of room for them to play around, and they were playing around with my car. They literally, if you look up the word GUIT, it's a Dutch colonial word that is for like a trickster. And there's an image that Chris will share and display that it took me time to figure out what it said and multiple people because I couldn't figure out what the letters were. But it's GUIT and then VYE, but it's written kind of weird, kind of the B and the Y and the E are written like maybe Old English style in a way.
I say it's probably like an Old English script that was popular in whatever colonial setting the book was where the happened at.
The T had like a curve to the bottom of it and the line midway through it, so it kind of looked like a cross with a curve at one end. So the T, the I had a little curve, like a little curly Q at the end of it. So it was definitely English words, but I thought it just said goodbye until my friend saw it, and she was German heritage, and it's GUIT as a trickster. So once they were out of my house, they got into my car, and I have photos of all that.
Apologize for that, guys. I muted my mic for a second. I was getting a question, and when I came back on and unmuted my mic through my mixer, for some reason it froze up my screen, my camera and everything else. I've learned don't do that, so I apologize for that.
So Colin ended up sending me some protection, positive light and energy, because I was getting very spiritually drained from trying to battle positive versus negative and all this. And so Colin was definitely helpful in trying to get it to a point where we could control it. But now it's to a point where we need to discuss it further, Chris.
I definitely think we're going to be digging deeper into this, especially after the panel has a chance to actually check out the EVP and look at the pictures and maybe even on their own do their own research, into anything more than they could possibly find that maybe you didn't dig into or didn't find that they could bring to the table. I definitely think it's going to be something we're going to revisit, and it looks like KW is about to try to bring something into the conversation. So. Good God. When was the last time you cleaned your desktop?
Sorry about that.
No kidding, man. Jeez.
That's the wrong one.
I thought mine was bad.
I was trying to bring up one of the pictures that she sent to me.
I was going to say,
exactly
you have everything.
Right.
But you have it all on your... Well, you have it all on your...
I have most of it on the laptop here.
I was going to say, I sent it to you through text, so...
Right. Okay, here we go.
You got it. Let me know when you're ready, and I'll stream it out, since it seems like I control that.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Well, Colin, do you need to
so anyway, these are things.
Here we go. Now this is a picture of
these are definitely
that she or a friend modified to show what may have been eyes.
Oh, you have the whole series of those.
Right.
There it is.
So if you can see that, it looks like a shirt.
Show them the
it looks like a
for the. Well, beforehand, let's answer the first question. Let's answer the question that's going to be asked by everybody that's watching this, because you said the word modified. Clarify what you mean by modified.
What looks like eyes.
I put the dots where the eyes are on the original.
Is there
this is when the light was coming out of my bedroom.
But everything else that's there was already there. She just put the dots for eyes so you could identify what she was seeing.
Is there
can you bring up the other one?
I'll try.
Yeah, is it altered so that way?
You have one of it not altered on your messenger. Chris?
I do. I just have to pull it up in there.
Again, I would have to do it post production. I wouldn't be able to pull it up now.
Okay. So can I forward it to you, Colin?
Yeah, I've got
or Don.
Picture here. I got too many pictures. It's a problem.
If you put it in the Facebook chat that we have, the group chat, maybe Don or Chris or somebody could offer it up if you've got it readily available to send.
Yep, I got it right there. It's the original of what he just sent you. I have tons of pictures. This is what happened when it was leaving my house. I was taking a video of the fireworks and we were having fun, but I kept seeing this light come through my blackout curtain, which if you know where I live, it's just abnormal. So I was recording it for about 3 minutes. And during that 3 minutes, the light came through the window and out and across the siding of my wall. Like it left my house, came out across the siding of the wall, and I'm on a cul-de-sac. So if a car came down my street, you would see it in the window. But this light came out of the house and across the wall, and when you pause it, that's what you see. When you pause it, if you zoom in on the face there, what I did was I put dots where the eyes would be, but that's my window, my bedroom window. As the light is exiting.
That's definitely, yeah. I can, as you can see where you had the dots in it, where it's kind of sunken in, like there is something.
Can you zoom that and bring the face more into?
Well, here's the one of the.
See,
I'll have to download it first.
Okay, so here's the one right after that of the face moving, and you can see the three, like as the face is leaving my room, you could see it.
So you have it set up. I don't need to look at your Facebook account.
You're not seeing anything. There's nothing dirty in here.
But I have ones of the hand. I have ones of the words. But those are just a couple of the things.
Okay, let me download these real quick, and we'll see if we can actually zoom in a little bit on them.
Okay.
Absolutely. If you want to send the other ones in the chat, he can grab all of them. We can look at all of them.
Yeah,
then it's just the audio. I'll take care of that. I just, like I said, I froze up muting my microphone. I don't want to tempt fate while we're recording.
Question while Don's doing that. On the EVPs where you have captured noise, and then you say that there's some instances where it sounds like it's in between channels. That's what's commonly referred to as white noise. How long are those recordings?
During that 15-minute period of this audio that me and Chris are talking about, it's off and on during the entire time of it. There's also another recording that I got just the other day that I'd like to believe I'm just crazy, and all my friends are telling me I'm not crazy, but it says...
Well, you're crazy, but not in this.
Not that crazy.
Yeah. Did you set it up, Don?
Yeah, I'm almost there. Hold on just a second.
Oh, okay. Well, I saw a shift in the thing for the stream.
I'm trying to get it set up to where they're even, where you can see in one picture it's there and one you can't.
Oh, okay. So he's doing some editing. Serenity,
not really editing, just trying to get everything right where. Okay, I think I got them both in the right spot where you can see.
Okay, and I sent a bunch. I just sent her a bunch. Okay, so yeah, so there's
definitely a head than a face there. You can see the eyes.
Right. That's why she put the dots for the eyes.
Right.
So you could see a little clearer.
And then here's the next picture with it gone.
I could take the video and send it to you guys, actually.
Yeah, and you guys got to understand, she lives at the end of a street that's like a dead-end street where it's like a circle drive at the end. So there's no traffic that's going to shine any lights down that street unless they're actually right in front of the house.
Right.
Did you see the second one where it has the three faces? You see how this is the second pausing of the video. And you see how it's right after the first face. You see now there's that face moving 3 times.
Almost like it's repeating it. Oh, good. Chris is back. He can actually see it. So I don't know where he disappeared to.
I had to disappear for a second and actually have a discussion with the expert. This is my wife. She gets yearly copies of these and everything, and she is really well versed in this. So a couple things for you, Serenity. She's been overhearing some of the conversations. She said to make sure to tell you these two things. When you're burning, make sure, and don't use white sage because it's a Native American artifact, and that's not going to work the way that you want it to.
Yeah.
Whenever you're burning, make sure that you give thanks to the God that you're asking help for, whether it be nature or whatever. I'm just giving thanks for the protection that you're going to offer me with this, and then leave an offering, even if it's a bowl of water or a little bowl of fruit or whatever. Leave an offering so they will answer it. Those two things are very fucking where you do the blessing at. In each one of wherever you get the wood from, my wife is telling me in the background. Wherever you get
the wood.
Okay, so this needs to be go out until you have a large property. I would go out there and get similar wood or a twig or a branch or whatever. You have to sit with the tree for a little bit. Thank the words that you're going to be using. Thank the protection that you're going to be receiving from the spirit of this tree. Yada yada yada, and then leave an offering before you ever burn it and use it for protection. Okay.
So it could be
any of them is fine. That's fine as long as you sit there and spend some time, commune with the tree, so to speak. These are how you complete the steps. What you're doing right now are incomplete steps. That's what's leaving the opening and allowing them to continue to sap your energy. And when you do the burning, I'm getting this information. She's telling me from the other room.
Yeah, I'll give her my information. Me and her.
While you're burning, you need to open a window so that way the spirits have a place to escape.
Yeah.
That's the one window that you don't put the salt binding on, and you open it when you do the burning and you do your offering, and you're continuously thanking the tree, the spirit in the tree, for the protection that it is giving you. And you leave your offering at the side of the tree where you take your twig that you're going to burn. And all of these things have to be done by you. And if you can bring anybody in from the local area and they help you with it, then they have to participate in all aspects of it. They can't leave you for a minute. They have to be there with you, and they have to complete the circle cannot be broken, in other words. Okay. So whoever helps you has to be there from beginning to end.
So I'd also like Don to pull up what I just sent him, which is pictures of my windshield without the words and a hand. I always wear rings on both my fingers, and the only one in my car in my driver's seat is me. And if you just see the hand, you'll see that it's definitely not of human origin. And then the words that were on the inside of my windshield within 3 blocks.
I'll close screen until you're ready. Yeah.
That's what I was waiting on.
Yeah, I'll close screen until you're ready. Just to let you know, we're also coming up on time, and I definitely have one more segment I want to get done, which is, of course, Colin's Corner, a.k.a. It's Not All Bad. I believe it's what you originally entitled it. So, but we're not leaving until we have this conversation, obviously. I just wanted to make everybody aware.
I want to cut this for Halloween.
You ready? There's the words right there. That was inside your windshield?
Written on the inside. You couldn't even see it from the outside.
Wow.
You couldn't even see it. And the fact that you could even see it at all is crazy because it's so hot. Why would there be any mist? And I was on the phone, and witnesses were 3 blocks away. I was with them, and there was nothing on my windshield because I felt like I was being watched. And there's a few images of interesting things that happened during that period, but it says GUIT and then BYE. And then
and Serenity's not one to leave her car unlocked either.
Right.
So nobody's in there screwing around. I mean, she's real diligent about that.
All right, take that down, Chris. I'll look at the next one we got.
All right, taking it down.
See where that one went. It's the video.
So For those listening to the podcast, I highly recommend for this segment, at least, you guys jump over to Realm the Misses YouTube channel and check out the video version of this episode. So that way you can see these things for yourself and be able to judge for yourself. I'm trying to be very cognitive of the people that are listening to the audio version of this. This is a portion that some things are going to seem a little off for you guys, and it's because of the fact that we are looking at footage and pictures and stuff. And I highly recommend you guys at least check out this episode on YouTube, so that way you can see what we're seeing as well. You ready there, Don? I just wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah, I'm just seeing what all we got here.
There's
is this the hand we're talking about right here?
The picture of the hand is pretty interesting.
I'm bringing it up.
Yeah.
As you can.
That's on my windshield. You can see the light crack on my windshield.
Huh.
And then you see that spawn eye at the top. My friend pointed out to me that spy, that little eye thing at the top, has been in a bunch of my pictures, and they're in most of my pictures, and I have a picture of it in my back seat, actually.
I saw that one, the picture of the back seat where it looks like there's a light back there.
Yeah, there's
a red light. There's a red and a blue light in different pictures.
Yeah, there's some interesting things. I'll send all the content over to you, definitely, Chris. It's all in my photos.
What kind of car is this? Just so we have context.
It's a GMC. It's a Dodge Durango. Sorry.
Okay.
So in the back seat here, that one. If you kind of zoom into that back seat there, the back window, it looks like there's like a Michael Myers face guy right there. Yeah. And then right to the right, there's the Spawn face guy. And the Spawn face guy, if you mess with the hues of the photo, just comes out even further. Colin, do you have the picture of his face? The one of the Spawn guy in, like, it was actually there in my car, in my face. It's very scary.
I think I do. I'll see.
Because for me, they're more spread out than they are for, oh, here it is. Okay, so this is not altered in any way, but if you use hues on it, it actually has a heart. It's very interesting. I don't know how to. Chris, do you have
How long is the audio recording that you sent us?
15 minutes.
And it's full.
The whole.
Why you want to try playing it now?
Well, because I just gave my phone to my wife, and she's gonna go listen to it. Like I said, she's the one I'm gonna go to for any and all information on this. So,
she's officially going to go listen to it now while we're discussing the pictures. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying let's play it now.
No.
Are you ready now?
Yeah.
I like your action there.
And to see what we're looking at on this one. There's that thing.
There's the eyes again.
I call him the Spawn guy.
Where's this taken at?
My car. And on the left side, you can see a face in the red. That red part, if you zoom in on the left, you can see a face in that. Like,
hang on for just a second. Is this from inside of your car or outside of your car?
Inside of my car with nothing on.
You're in the car and it's in the car with you, or you're in the car and you're taking pictures outside?
I'm in the car, and that was me turning the camera around and taking a picture of the back seat because I felt like something was behind me. And that was what the picture came out to be, with no flash, nothing on.
The fact that it's presenting
now,
an energy.
I've got to placate the naysayers. I got to placate the naysayers. Close to your cul-de-sac, there is no like traffic light or anything to justify the red light, or like an overhead lamp that would justify the off to the to my angle would be the right hand side where it's kind of bluish. There's no source of light that would cause these.
I'll take video of my street light, but my street light the sensor doesn't work on. So if it's on for a second. If that, I have my
it's just
own
for the nature.
Right. Yeah, no, and I'll take video of somebody driving up my street for the video because the video of it coming out of my room is very interesting. I could show you videos of people driving by the cul-de-sac. It's 100% not coming out of my window. It's definitely interesting because I took pictures with the flash, and you have them, Dawn. The ones with the flash were the ones that you see the spawn guy in the way back of the seat, and the other one, and then there's a picture of me, which I'm not going to share. But I took a picture of me, and you don't see any of the other seats. You just see me. Everywhere around me is completely blacked out with flash. You should see my back seat. You should see my headrest. You should see the back seat behind me and my daughter's car seat with the flash, all that. But with the flash, you don't see anything. It's all black around me. So it's definitely it was in my car, and an interesting situation that needs to be dealt with further. But Chris seems like he'll help me out there.
Hold on. Hang on just a second. Me and my wife are discussing what she just saw.
Well, see, Serenity, when I was talking to you about it, I said bring it on the show when we still had like alternate shows and not just one Mitch Bosch show. And you were like, why? I said, because my panel will have something to say. Chris is one of the people I was thinking of. I know, but Chris was one of the people I was thinking of. So.
Well, I'm about ready.
So hang on just a second. I'm giving my wife a description. She says the pictures with the eyes and whatnot, that's something that you can see not commonly, but it is something that people do run into whenever they go back looking at pictures and stuff like that. It could be by the naysayers. It could be explained away a multitude of things, dust particles, whatnot.
Yeah.
The words appearing within your windshield, showing 1 minute that there's nothing there, and then the next minute it's written on the inside. Did you try to wipe that off from the vehicle?
Yes. And it wouldn't come off. It took me a lot of scrubbing. Look at those. Those are
so,
amazing.
Hang on. Hang on. Let me relay what she's. She just got goosebumps, and she's not cool with this. Hang on.
Yeah, it has to do with my daughter a lot.
Well, guys, we'll venture back into this next week. We'll venture back into this next week, so that way, because we are reaching time here, and I definitely want to get into Colin's segment here, which is our outro segment, and of course, say goodbye.
So that's not bad though.
So what I'm being told on this, and we'll talk more about this off air because my wife desperately wants to talk to you, I believe. So in her experience and her impression of this is whoever gave you the book did it intentionally. You need to do a binding on the person who allowed you to get that book.
It was somebody on eBay who gave me an offer. It was an offer on eBay for a book.
That's fine. And they wanted to get rid of it because they were going through these problems and they did not properly warn you. So
they knew something was attached.
There's a binding for this.
My house.
She's saying within the day that it arrived at the book, it started. The book arrived. With her daughter.
I love you. It was in my house 10 minutes. 10 minutes. 10 minutes before it started making my daughter speak gibberish.
It's commonly basically, don't take this the wrong way. This is just the interpretation of it. The spirit is going to go after the weaker in the house, and your daughter obviously is not, not saying your daughter's weak, but that's generally how it works. That's why child possession happens more often than adults.
Right.
We got kids and animals pick up on these things faster than adults.
Yeah.
My dogs bark rhyme. Okay, so guys, I sent you guys the EVP. It's 39 minutes into it. Let's do Colin's Corner.
Yeah, I hate cutting this off because this is a topic that we're definitely going to part 2 this next week. If you guys agree, I think After Hours will be revisiting this next week. But let's get into our final segment here. Colin, you got some inspiration. We need some good news for some of this stuff here. Let's get into that. segment here.
Some positive energy.
Positive energy.
All right. Well, I've been doing some investigating locally up here in the North Woods of Michigan, and so I found a local person who's been trying to help with the COVID stuff going on, and a person by the name of Gretchen, who is a manager here at the local Highland Golf Club golf course. And they did it right up here in the local paper for her, for what she was doing, because of course everybody has kids, and they all have kids in school that get their lunch program, and sometimes that's the best meal of the day that they get. Well, Gretchen saw a need that as soon as the schools were closed because of COVID, that these kids weren't getting fed.
They did basically
the golf course.
Kids, yeah.
You know.
You're kind of freezing up a little bit, Colin.
So she can organize to have these kids get fed. So every day they were packing up. They started out to do it for like 3 weeks, the remainder of what the school year would have been. They ended up going and doing like 100 bagged lunches every day, 5 days a week for 6 whole weeks. And they even delivered some of the lunches of some of the kids because they didn't have vehicles or any way to get to the golf course to pick up their lunches, which I thought was a huge feat for a small community to do something like that.
Was it just the kids, or did the parents that brought the kids there also got fed as well?
Well, it was basically they got donations to provide meals for the children. But the cool thing was that they did it for 6 whole weeks. They got a lot of help donations, and the staff of the golf course actually donated their time to help do this, which I thought was really cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So for 6 weeks, they between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. the staff volunteered to give back to the community with 3 ham, turkey, and peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. And the manager, Gretchen, wanted to open people's minds and hearts to realize we are all in this together, and we can all make a difference no matter what school district you're in. Originally planning a 3-week adventure, but it did last for a whole 3 weeks, or a whole 6 weeks. So awesome. Then on top of that, they've got this other organization called the Honor Flight that brings people that are veterans down to Washington to see the memorial for the veterans. They just went and had a golf tournament at the golf course to raise money for the Honor Flight. They raised $3,200. And the sad part is the Honor Flights right now have been suspended because of the COVID, so they're not traveling and doing these missions down to Washington right now. But the money will stay in the account and be held on to until January, when they look at this and reevaluate whether they're going to start doing the trips again. So that I thought was pretty good. $3,200 is a lot of money for a small community like this, where I mean, there's only 38,000 people in my local county.
Right.
So so for them to raise that kind of cash, that's pretty special.
Doing a one-off lunch drive for kids and everything. I mean, that's really pulling together a lot of resources and everything. It's stories like that, you know, where the news isn't pushing the good feel stories. They want everything to be a horror story. Those are good things for everybody to hear, because there's communities all over the place that are doing things like that, and they don't get any shine for it.
I'd like to jump in here and say that the schools around here have police officers that are donating their time and their money and their resources to feed the children, and it's the police officers that are doing it, and they're feeding the kids. I don't know about the parents, but I know that if you go to the school, and there's a few of them that have the sheriffs around here at them, and they're feeding the kids. So a lot of people are giving back that are going unnoticed.
Right. I'll tell you what, especially in today's current climate, hearing police doing community things like that is definitely something that the world needs to hear more of. So I absolutely applaud this Gretchen person. I also applaud the Colorado sheriff's department. I'm not sure which county you're in, so
Adams
I'm
County.
just gonna
Right,
Adams County. Okay,
You don't know?
Sheriff's.
Well, according to No Kid Hungry,
I only know a couple of them.
The No Kid Hungry organization, their facts say that there's 22 million kids in the U.S. that rely on free or reduced price lunches.
Yes.
Yeah, it's an astounding.
That's a lot.
That's
I think
why
that a lot of parents have relied on it for a long time. So it's just kind of a normal thing when your kids go to school, they get fed. I mean, I was raised that way.
Most of us were.
No, I brown bag.
Yeah, same here. We probably could have qualified, but mom and dad wouldn't do it. So yeah, I had to.
Some parents have too much pride.
Yeah.
Oh no, I think my parents probably paid yearly for me to just go in and eat every day. I'm not saying it was like free, but I'm just saying that I didn't have to worry about going to school with my lunch money because my school gave us.
I'll tell you what. The only time I was annoyed with it, like I didn't mind brown bagging it, but the only time I was annoyed with it is when they had pizza day. You know, because like all the kids were happy and thrilled because they got pizza and tater tots, and I'm sitting there with a peanut butter and jelly. You know what I mean?
So yeah, when I was a teenager, they give me lunch money. I just bought cigarettes with it, so it didn't matter.
Right. So at some point, I'm going to forward the interview that I did with a couple of teenagers locally here, talking about what they're doing for positive vibes and how they're fighting the depressive state that we're in these days, and what they think about the schooling. Schooling, more masks. Some of them are done all online. And then like marching band, this one kid is involved in marching band and he had to take time off. The kid's name is Nick Langtang, and he broke his leg last year, so he couldn't march, and he was really bummed. And then of course they had to cut out school because of COVID. But so him and his friend Carly Sullivan gave me some real good info and input from what the teenage standpoint is right now on all the current events. And it seems like they're happy that they don't have to go to class. And they're not really that upset that they because they end up getting in more trouble. But they see each other on video chat and things like that, social media all the time anyhow, so it's really not that big of an issue for them.
Right.
But thankfully, they are going to be starting the marching band again soon here, and now they're spacing each other apart farther as their grid patterns for their formations and things. And it's just amazing to hear that teenagers actually give a damn about what's going on, and they're trying to look at the brighter side and pick up their spirits and their friends to keep them from getting depressed as well.
That's cool. Important. Yeah.
Well, speaking of positive vibes here, not to step on your platform here, your soapbox, but Serenity had asked me before the beginning of the show, and I haven't had a proper segue for this, to wish a happy birthday to her friend Amanda. She is the assistant to the Vinyl Prophet. So I don't know. We're recording this on a Sunday, but it's releasing on a Tuesday. So I don't know if it's officially her birthday when she's going to hear this, but at least happy birthday, Amanda, from all of us here at Breaking the Fourth Wall.
Happy birthday, girl.
Happy birthday, Amanda.
Thank you.
I want to make sure I got that in there as well. And obviously, we'll make sure you guys have probably already seen it. If you're watching the edited version, you've already seen the interview that Colin was talking about. Anything else for positive vibes this week?
I think that's pretty much where I'm at this week. I got some other pictures and stuff of people having fun frolicking on the beach up here in Michigan and stuff like that. But we'll share them at a later time.
I just think
frolicking.
Follow the rainbow. Every color is a new strength that you have, and stay positive, and we'll all get through it.
That's right. We're all in this together.
Well, at this point, normally because of the way I normally end podcasts, I usually have everybody go around and tell everybody where they can be found and their shows can be found. I'm still going to do that, but obviously I know that two people here don't do podcasting. When we get to you guys, if you want to give, like, maybe if people have questions, especially Serenity, now that you've done the whole entire your haunting, if people want to contact you, maybe you might want to give an email address or something that people can contact. It's up to you guys. You don't have to if you don't want to, but I'll definitely start with Mr. Rudder here. Tell everybody where about What's My Effing Binge and where they could find it.
Yeah, if you want to know what's new to watch and what's good to watch and avoid any dumpster juice shows out there, tune into What's Your Effing Binge. You can find us on Apple. You can find us on Radio Public, Pandora, anywhere quality podcasts are found. You can reach me at what'syoureffingBinge@gmail.com. You can see what's going on behind the scenes at Instagram or Twitter or LinkedIn under What's Your Effing Binge. There's 3 different fan groups on Facebook for What's Your Effing Binge. I think our total count's up to like 6,000 people now. So yeah, just type in What's Your Effing Binge and that'll bring you right to me.
Mr. Don Smith and the Life Radio Show.
All right. Well, you can find the Life Radio Show just about on any place you find podcasts out there. You can go to the life1069.com. It's very outdated. I haven't updated that site in a couple of years, but all of the links still work. You can also, the main feed is on Podbean. So the life1069.podbean.com. You can get all 420, 80, I don't know, however many, well over 400 episodes that are out there of that craziness. You can also follow us on Twitter at Don Smith Comedy. On Facebook, I'm at the Life1069. Instagram, I believe, is the Life1069 as well. I don't do a whole lot on Instagram. I'm fairly active on Twitter and Facebook, so you can go out there and check out some of the things. Every now and then I'll share some of the dumb segments, the video segments that I changed to audio for the Life, like Rodney Norman. If you haven't listened to Rodney Norman's Sage Wisdom, you have to listen. He is absolutely brilliant. I started him as a feature on the Life Radio Show a while back, and he's a lot of fun. He just puts videos up of himself explaining different things in the world, and it's stuff that we really, really need right now. Explained like no one else could. So definitely check all that out. This has been a lot of fun today.
It has.
Yes, it has.
Serenity. Before you get into it, I'm gonna expose you right on air. Miss Serenity has never been on a podcast. Miss Serenity was nervous as hell about doing this, and I kept telling her it's gonna feel like second nature as soon as we get into it. Was I wrong?
Yeah, I'm still not comfortable in front of the camera. We'll work on it.
See, on the Life Radio Show, a lot of times one of the things I love about doing the Life Radio Show is I get a lot of amateur comics that come on locally, and usually it's their first time on the radio or their first time on a podcast, and they're nervous. And I always tell them I have a knack for making people forget they're on a professional radio show. So
well, you guys definitely helped me through. I happen to have a great partner who does all my speaking for me. So this is definitely out of my zone, but I thank you guys for everything. This has been great.
And where can people reach you?
Yeah, if you want to reach me, it's Serenity Stone on Facebook, finalprofitrecords.com, or if you want to reach me about anything about this podcast, you might as well reach out to Chris or any of the other guys, and they could link you directly to me that way. And that would be my most comfortable form of communication about any activity around here.
That'll be the easiest way to handle it. And of course, last but certainly not least, Mr. Colin, who looks very serious when it's
well,
camera.
There he is.
They say hi.
Yeah, I'm Colin Washburn on Facebook. Look me up, drop me a line. Anybody wants to chat about positive energy and good things going on in the world, drop me a line. Let me know what you're thinking. I am starting a YouTube channel and just getting it off the ground now, so there'll be future posts there to come. You can find me there too. And look me up.
We'll definitely make sure about it when you have it up and running. And of course, guys, for me, you can find me right here at Realm Miss Entertainment on Breaking the Fourth Wall, either the daily interview shows or the weekly podcast, which now is official. I can't believe I actually did it. It's actually here, and I can't thank you guys enough for it. If you guys enjoyed it in any capacity, hit the thumbs up button, like, share, comment, subscribe. Check out all the other podcasts presented by Realm of the Mist Entertainment or our syndicated shows. And of course, if you prefer your podcast in audio-only format, you can find them on Anchor.fm, Apple, iTunes, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, wherever quality podcasts can be heard. Just look up Realm of the Mist Entertainment. We're the only Realm of the Mist that you'll find. And of course, guys, if you like Serenity said, if you want to contact about this show or anything else, you can either contact them individually, as I said, or you can reach everybody at realmofthemistentertainment@gmail.com. Leave your questions or comments there. We will definitely read them. We will definitely respond to them on the weekly podcast, guys. Again, I can't thank the panel enough for agreeing to doing this with me. I know it's like nonsense, but it was a dream come true today. I had an absolute blast, and I can't wait to see you guys on the next Breaking the Fourth Wall weekly show. Hey guys, it's Chris from Realm of the Mist Entertainment. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that thumbs up button. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Check out all the other great podcasts that can be found on Realm of the Mist Entertainment's YouTube channel or our sister channel, Sounds Dicey Gaming, for all your tabletop needs. And if you prefer your podcast in audio-only format, check out Realm of the Mist Entertainment on Anchor.fm, Apple, iTunes, Spotify, Pandora, or wherever quality podcasts can be heard. To our Patreon supporters, we thank you very, very much. And if you're interested in being a Patreon supporter, please go over to patreon.com/Realm of the Mist, and just $1 a month gives you exclusive content and helps our channel out greatly. Guys, again, thank you very much for joining us, and we will see you on the next episode.